the year has kicked off with far more happening than I thought was going to happen in the year.
Yeah.
Just I guess from a work standpoint, last year was amazing, and I was very happy with the way it ended up. But I expected 2025 to be a little bit quieter, and that's not the case. And to be honest, it was up until Friday. I was like, great, I'm going to have a bit of time off. I'll get a bit of travel. It'll be quite nice and just relax this year. But no, I think work-wise for me, which, as you know, is music and technology, I think is going to be a pretty big year, particularly for DJ, and some of the deals that we've done, which will come to light in a couple of months, but they'll be my full focus for the next little while.
Yeah. You thought you were going to have a bit of a holiday year?
Yeah, I did. I did. I thought I really did. And
that's gone.
And I'm turning 50 this year in March, and so I was kind of like, when I turned 40, I had a bit of a year of it. It was the year that I decided to finish at Serrato in my 40th year. I also decided to go to the Rugby World Cup final on a whim, and then I don't think we talked about this last time. Then Dan Carter asked me to organise the after party after they won the World Cup.
Oh, cool.
So we had this huge party in London, which finished when the sun was rising.
Nice.
And I think it's important when you're ticking off a big milestone to actually then just enjoy it. So I'm planning my 50th birthday now, and was planning to just relax and chill for the year, but it's going to be pretty intense. We've got 40 software developers just around the corner that are really working hard to deliver some amazing software this year, which I always knew was happening because that's the roadmap we work on together and set the goals. So that's all fine. But then there's a whole lot of outside partners joining in. So it's going to be a fun year of it.
Yeah. I think last time we caught up, you guys have just bought
Moog, yeah.
So how's that going?
That's going great. Yeah, we've released some new products. So, I mean, there was Moog, and this is what you love, is such a historical legacy within the music industry and the synthesizer industry because Dr. Bob Moog created the category, really. And there were a lot of people upset about in music buying it because it had always been made in Asheville, North Carolina, handmade in America, And when we came along, it was obvious that we would move some of the manufacturing offshore, not all of it, but we needed to be competitive on price. And so we did, and the acceptance has been amazing. And we've launched some very expensive new products, the Moog Muse, and we can't keep it in stock because people were so excited about it because it's amazing. So, the Moog integration has gone really well.
Yeah. What do you think is driving this whole, I guess, demand for music, software and instruments and DJing?
I mean, it started over the pandemic. And interestingly, when you look at most of the sales for music companies over that time, musical instruments companies, they would have been 20 to 30% up year on year because you would be in your house. You couldn't travel anywhere, but you're used to going to, I'll use the American things, you're used to going to Vegas to see Diplo, and you're used to getting the bottle service and and all of these things. You're used to going on holiday, and then you can't do it, and you're like, you know what? I can beat Diplo. I'll beat Diplo. I'll get the gear that Diplo uses.
Yeah.
So then you're buying some really expensive DJ and music production equipment, and then suddenly you've got a job as a banker again. You have to go and be a banker. So, look, I think people needed new outlets. They'd, in college, they decided that they could DJ and they wanted to get back to some of that. So, I think that was the start of it. Then companies made too much stock for this new level, and suddenly the market crashed out of it. And then you had a year to then sell through that stock. And now it's coming back. There's a lot of competition in the industry as well, and a lot of trying to drive the price down.
Yeah.
When you look at DJ specifically, there are only a few real players in the DJ market. It's dominated by Pioneer, or Alpha Theta as they're now called, from a hardware perspective. It's dominated by Serato in a software perspective.
Yeah.
And we've got 3 DJ brands and a couple of software brands. So we've got Rain, Newmark, and Denon DJ. And we've got Engine as our software, and we partner with Serato and a number of others. But last year was pretty intense for us, working to try and stop a merger between Serato and Pioneer. So Pioneer were trying to buy Serato.
Oh, really?
And that got held up at the New Zealand Commerce Commission by us. So we took full page ads in the Post in Wellington. We took full wraps around the Post. We went pretty hard at it. We really felt that it would have destroyed the DJ industry. We wouldn't have been able to stay in it, we don't think, because Pioneer have somewhere between 70 and 80% market share, and they also own a software called Recordbox, which is about the same as Serato. So those two would have about 70% of it, and then we would be handing over our new hardware to Serato, which would be owned by Pioneer.
Wow.
And they would see our new products a year or so ahead of time.
And you just saved like the whole industry and your business as well.
Yes.
Because that's 50 people, 40 people just disappeared.
Yeah, we
would have just disappeared.
Yeah. And when you read through some of the Commerce Commission stuff, we say that. We say we would have to close the office. And we've probably invested $50 million into New Zealand in the last 5 years.
Wow.
So we've bought buildings. We give Serato great royalties every year. We've got a big team of people here. So we're very active. And
that overflows into the New Zealand music culture and scene and artists like Lord and Beanie and all these guys come out of it. Totally. It all works in tandem, you know. But the world doesn't see the stuff that you guys do, right? You never hear it in the news.
Yeah.
It is never written about it, you know?
No, I mean, look, the Commerce Commission thing was quite well covered in the New Zealand media. It was on the front page of the Herald.
Oh, good.
Look, it was a deal that was worth more than 100 million New Zealand dollars. And I don't know the exact number because we never got to see those bits, but I'd say it would be close to 150 with all the earnouts and so forth. So it was an important thing, and that was a big focus. But also, when I came in last time, not something I really wanted to talk about because I didn't know which way it was going to go.
Okay.
And it went what I think is the right way for DJs and music producers around the world. So,
did you get a lot of shit from Serato trying to kill the deal, or were they on board with you, or did they want to sell?
Not at all.
So they wanted to sell.
They 100% wanted to sell.
Right.
To our biggest competitor, and they're our biggest partner. And so we didn't really talk for a year.
Wow.
And we didn't show them any new hardware for a year.
Wow. That makes it really hard.
It does.
Your biggest partner, and you can't show your R&D.
Yeah.
Then you're trying to work together to, integrate the hardware and the software with Serato, and then Pioneer is trying to listen in and saying, well, what are you guys working on with these guys?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a lot to navigate through.
It was huge.
But you're the right person. You've been around for a long time.
Yeah, nearly 50 years, mate.
Yeah. Yes, that's right.
No, but I guess what you're saying is I had 6 years at Serato, and then probably...
Because when you deal with those, when you're fighting with that kind of stuff, like mergers and trying to, protect your business, it's about understanding how personalities work in the industry, what moves, the levers. For someone like you that's been in that industry for many years, you get it.
Yeah. Oh, look, I do. And I know
and your heart's in the right place. You're trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And the president of Pioneer, I know him very well as well.
Yeah.
But obviously I didn't talk to him for a year and a bit either.
Yeah.
So, I had to give them all some space. We still had to have our weekly calls because we still had new product coming out, but it was just our development stuff, and it wasn't at the CEO level, I guess, the exec level that I'm used to dealing with them on. But
not drinking champagne every weekend with Snoop Dogg and Serato and Pioneer.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when I was at Serato, here's a Snoop Dogg story for you. So, just because you've gone there and you didn't even know this, but here you go. So I was at Serato, and Snoop, who I heard today is doing the Trump inauguration.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh.
But that's not the story.
Okay.
So we can come back to that again if you want. So Snoop's a massive Serato fan.
Okay.
And as you know, as Chief Commercial Officer and Sales and Marketing Director. And so they asked us to come side of stage to watch Snoop when he played at the Big Day Out at Western Springs. And so side of stage, and everyone's getting high, sweet as. And then at the end of the gig, go to leave, and then security said, Snoop would like to see you in his compound. And I'm like, okay. And then so I walk into his compound and then into his full kind of porter cabin, I guess it is, out the back of Western Springs. And there's like a massive PA set up on this side, and there's like 20 dudes in this room, and they are hotboxing it to shit, as you would expect. So they've all got the Philly blunt. You know what a Philly blunt is?
No.
Okay. And this might be educational for some people. I've never, I don't know, maybe. Anyway, so you take a cigar.
Right.
You take the tobacco out of the cigar, and so you're left with just the, and then you fill that with weed, and then you re-roll it so it looks like you're having a cigar. But
I've never seen that before. That sounds fun.
Yeah, so Google Philly blunt.
Oh, wow.
And
because I lived in Amsterdam for a few months, and I got into smoking weed. And I'm in America. I love it. It's fun.
Yeah,
I was very disappointed when it was not passed here.
I thought that was terrible.
That's just silly. But
I think it's great that we could give $250 billion back to the tobacco industry so they could make more money under this new government. I thought that was a great idea. It would really help to get smoke-free 2025. I'm being sarcastic just in case no one can tell.
I know. I mean, satire is quite tricky these days, People just can't pick it up for some reason. But Snoop Dogg, I'm sure there's some crazy stories. I think. So I'll
finish this. So I walk in there. Yeah. So I walk in there. Yeah. Everyone's having these Philly bloods.
Yeah.
Cool. And then the tour manager, who's like 7 foot tall, I'm like, I know this is a strange question, but is it okay to smoke pot in here? He's like, yeah, it's kind of compulsory, unless you're me, and I just don't. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Give you a waiver.
So then I sparked one up. I'm like, and Snoop and I are chatting about stuff, and then I blow some smoke rings, and I do that thing where you blow it out your mouth and then back up your nose. And Snoop's like, bro, I really like your style. And I'm like, hip hop bucket list, tick.
Yeah,
I'm out. I'm done. I don't need any more than this. Finished it and then left, and that was that.
That was it.
Yeah,
that's cool, man.
Yeah,
get to hang out with Snoop Dogg and just like
blaze a blunt and then peace.
That's a good time.
Yeah,
that's a good time. That's some good story, man. You have some great stories.
Yeah, I mean, I can look if you want to go music stories in today's podcast. I'm happy to do them. I got lots.
Did you have any P. Diddy stories?
I got no P. Diddy stories. I've never met P. Diddy, and I'm glad I didn't go to a P. Diddy party.
Did you get invited? Did
No.
you come anywhere close to
No.
P. Diddy?
No.
Did he ever come to New Zealand?
His jet was here a few months back, but I don't think he's ever been, to the best of my knowledge. But people have been calling it for a long time.
Really?
Yeah, this whole thing. And when you go
How
back...
long?
When you go back now and you look at some of the lyrics for some of the songs,
right?
So Eminem Monster,
oh yes,
with Rihanna,
oh yeah,
It's that the monster is P. Diddy by the sounds of it.
Right.
And the tunnels and the whole thing, that's all in that song. So you go back and listen to that song.
It's bizarre how people call this stuff, but not really call it, you know?
Well,
it's like
50 Cent and that...
50 has been calling him for a long time.
Yeah.
50 is good like that.
Yeah, 50's good like that. And there's that American comedian whose name I totally forget, but he's called it. He's like, he offered me $50 million for my virgin asshole, and I told him to fuck off.
Jesus. 50 million.
Yeah, but apparently, I don't know either, but LeBron was 100 for it.
Jesus Christ. What is he holding auctions or
what?
He's just running auctions for people's assholes? Is that what he's doing?
I mean, probably not now. But yeah, apparently.
Wow.
But then here's the thing, right?
You must be fucked up in your head to kind of like.
But if you
valued,
yeah, sure. But then it must be crazy to take the money as well, especially if you're super rich like that.
Yeah.
When you're already getting paid how much a year?
Yeah. What do you make of Jay-Z getting stuck into all of this? Because there's a lawsuit against him as well.
Yeah, it's.
Do you think that's true?
Who knows? I mean, they're obviously close. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like he's being targeted because they're close, you know, or he's done it.
I mean, I don't know. Everyone can speculate till the cows come home on these things, and until it's at court and you hear.
And that's just so sickening, you know, like this whole thing. It's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and look, the thing is, with AI and everything now, it's going to be harder and harder to know what's real and what's not.
Yeah. Yeah. But man, like 1,000 bottles of baby oil and it's just like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah, I know. On what kind of scale are you up to it?
Yeah.
like, I mean, surely a case covers you for the week, right? Like, get another, like, are they giving it to you for free or like, what's the...
Yeah.
I don't know.
The comedy that came out of that was just brilliant.
Yeah.
It's just brilliant. It's just insane. I mean, that's one thing I never liked about this whole sort of entertainment scene, you know. There's some awful stuff that goes on. I mean, if P. Diddy is doing it at that scale, right, I would assume, you know, I never spend that much time in the music industry and, you know, like yourself. But I would assume that there would be a lot of that kind of small-scale parties going on all over the place and people getting caught up into it and people behaving in ways that they shouldn't be behaving, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're talking way different levels. It's like, and definitely not in New Zealand. I don't. People aren't really rich enough to run at that level in the entertainment industry. Look, there may be people doing crazy stuff, but I don't think you've got A-list musicians running around doing that shit at all in New Zealand.
Yeah,
there's, you know, no one's earning enough. And plus, they're not crazy enough either.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's always important to not kind of take one negative thing and just look at everything through that lens, you know? Otherwise, it just becomes a mindfuck for yourself. It's like, whoa, now you're seeing everything is evil and you know, everybody are bad in that industry, you know?
I think the New Zealand music industry is full of lovely people.
Yeah.
Business model still needs updating, but
what do you reckon the business model should be?
I think I know because I was very involved in the first music streaming deals.
Yeah.
And honestly, and this is probably naive on my part, but when I did those deals and launched the first pan-European music streaming service, I really thought that the labels would drop their royalty rate, the amount they took, and increase the artist's royalty rate. And therefore, the artists would make more money because the record labels had less costs. But that didn't happen. They didn't change the deals. The deals are still very similar to the way they were, and the royalty rates are very similar. And when I say this, I mean in global deals. And therefore, the artists are making less, because it's track by track, not a whole CD being sold towards your equipment. So I think the labels, and now it looks like Spotify are actually making money.
Okay.
And when you look at it, it seems some of their executives cashed out lots and lots of money in the last little while. And their royalties to artists are less. So it's a bummer. I'd love to see the labels adjust their royalty rate and for the artists to get more of it. I think it's a real shame. And because I think ultimately the streaming model is the one. The other thing that I guess is the issue is that unless you're signed to a major label now, it's very hard to get noticed on the streaming platforms, probably because there's some minimum market shares for all the labels, which doesn't allow a lot of other indie content in there. And if you're not allowing that content to be surfaced, it's hard for it to become a hit. Radio isn't as popular as it was because more people are on streaming.
Yeah.
And that was, look, when we were breaking artists here, so we had, I think we signed about 25 local artists, Good Shirt, Golden Horse, Blind Spot, Op Shop, Salmonella Dub, a whole range of artists, and they all went gold or platinum, and we paid them good royalties every quarter. But that was because my boss was like, unless we're paying them lots of money, then we've failed. So we have to do really artist-friendly deals, and we have to make sure they're making money because this is their thing. And that, look.
Yeah, you have to make sure that business model works.
Yeah.
It's like me doing
for
this
everyone.
podcast.
For everyone.
People doing YouTube videos. Yeah. They're all part of an ecosystem, right? It all feeds the machine. So you got to make sure that there are people involved in these industries like yourself, and your boss is, everybody gets a fair share, and musicians, at least, that they're not feeding this machine called Spotify and they're getting nothing in return. Yeah. I had a really good introduction at a speaking event I was doing for Mario Nofal. He runs the roundtables on X.
Oh, yeah.
And he brings all these crypto platforms that are doing all sorts of fun things. Dr. Green, they built an entire drop shipping cannabis business on crypto. So you can, buy a digital key for $10,000 and you can pretty much buy and sell weed on this platform. And it's drop shipping, just like Shopify.
In America?
Around the world.
Oh.
Really cool. And this
dark web kind of stuff, or
no, it's like Dr. Green has its own weed growing manufacturing plant factories.
Sure, but it's not legal for it to be sent into New Zealand, though, right?
Oh well, you are selling it to jurisdictions where it's legal.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. In New Zealand, it's legal to sell medicinal cannabis.
Yes, but you need a doctor's certificate.
That's correct.
Yeah.
But you can still sell it through Dr. Green. If you have a doctor's certificate.
Yes, right.
And you do your KYC on the platform.
Oh, yeah.
Morgan, here's my prescription. You give all the proof. We put you into the system.
Okay.
You're in the system. Then I'm a seller. I can sell it to you and you go, well, I want this strain. I want that strain. I want this strain. And you can trace back the strain. You can trace back the manufacturing, the quality, the quality control, because you want to get what you've been prescribed to or what you're looking for,
Yeah.
So it's a really cool idea.
Yeah, great idea.
And then this other guy that I met, he's built an American Idol version on crypto.
Okay.
And it's kind of like TikTok, So artists who are up and coming, they jump on there and they post their music or whatever they're doing, and then everybody on that platform can vote.
Yeah.
And through the voting system, somehow they're monetized and they're making money on this platform.
Right.
It's all crypto. It's kind of like crypto version of Spotify, but also like it's a competition based like American Idol. It's fascinating that people are doing all these different things to get artists to, because artists, there's always lots of artists that find, well, this pathway doesn't work for me. The Spotify pathway doesn't work. Getting a record label deal, forget about it, right? But I can go on crypto and I can do this and I can post my stuff and then, it's really cool. It's great.
What do you make of TikTok in America and
being banned?
Did you see today that Trump might come in and save it?
I didn't see today. How would he do that? He just killed the bill.
I guess so, yeah. Because it's at the Supreme Court, I think, and so he could. He ran on the Supreme Court. He put there. So
look, I've listened to a lot of people on Joe Rogan that have come. They are very qualified psychologists, and their view is that TikTok's really, really bad for kids.
Yeah.
Especially under the age of 16.
Yeah, I mean, it's addictive.
Very addictive.
And to be honest, all of those ones are. Though,
yeah.
Right?
There's a huge issue with parenting around parents not being strict enough with kids and just giving them stuff to watch, like, TikTok, which is not good. And now you have in Australia, the government's banned social media, which I disagree with. I don't think it's a government needs to control it. I think parents need to step up and say, what the hell? Like, you can't do that.
Yeah, but it becomes very hard when you're negotiating with,
It is. Yeah, it's tough.
And the moment that you give your kid the phone to be by their bed because they say, I've got anxiety if I don't, then
that's silly stuff, I mean, you have a lot of pessimist parenting, which is all about, getting caught up in that, but you're trying to alleviate his anxiety of not having TikTok. You're fueling more anxiety and depression through other ways.
Yeah.
I have a 7-year-old boy, and every day it's a fight with him. There's at least 2 or 3 fights that he starts with me about the device, wanting to have more time, wanting to play all these other games his friends are playing, which they shouldn't be playing because they're not 13.
No,
but he feels the pressure that they're playing and he wants to join in. So it's not easy. It's an everyday battle, but that's how it goes.
Yeah.
It
doesn't get any easier. No. Sorry to say.
Thanks. But do you really want to ban it? No, I don't think you should ban it.
No.
There's a lot of, I think, information, misinformation, disinformation about China trying to spy people or trying to use the algorithm to change the behavior of how people live their lives. Because in China, TikTok algorithm incentivizes behavior that is academic type behavior, whether it's educational content or maths, learning, that kind of stuff. But in America, they boost content that's just like, one might argue that it's creative, it's fun, but also it's dumbing down people by getting them to not find important things cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's all the rumors about China trying to sell the American business to Elon Musk, and Mr. Beast put together $1 billion deal to try and buy it. I think it's worth about anything from 65 billion to 140 billion, just the American one.
Wow. The
company that owns TikTok globally.
ByteDance. Is it? ByteDance.
Yeah, and I think they're worth about $250 billion. Elon's net worth since Trump got up from 280 to 420 billion. So they're like, well, maybe Elon can do something with it.
I'm sure he could.
Yeah, and Trump's got in David Sachs. I don't know if you know him. He's from the Silicon Valley.
Right.
As the AI and crypto czar. So he's going to be working in the White House trying to figure out, what's going on with all these algorithms and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'm not on TikTok. I've never been.
Same.
I don't have an account. Same. I only use X, and I don't give a shit in many ways.
Are you using it as much as you used to, or not?
X?
Yeah.
It's become very business channels now.
Yeah, I used to be totally addicted.
Yeah.
And now it's just less.
It's just business now for me.
I mean, I don't think I've done a post this year.
Good.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
I mean, I only do my satire news and push that, and I do my podcast and I push that.
Yeah.
And I would reply to some certain comments if I see it. The timeline is poison.
Yeah.
It's a good way to look at it. The timeline is an algorithm that's trying to feed you stuff. It's trying to, give you, sway your views, bend the reality. So the timeline, I try and avoid as much as I can.
That was the bit that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
But it's all. And look, now I think I've got it tuned enough that it's most of the stuff coming through is non-offensive to me, and I actually agree with it. But then I just feel like I'm in an echo chamber now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I can go through and like these, but I'm not. I used to feel like there was some educational stuff on there, but now I'm like, no. The other thing I did, at the end of last year, I guess I turned off all my news alerts, and I did it because it was an All Blacks game at 3 a.m, and I didn't want to get up at 3 and watch it live, and I decided that otherwise I'll get the alerts when I wake up and Right. So I turned off all the alerts, and then I'm like, wow, this is really peaceful.
Yeah.
This is really peaceful. When I want to know the news, I can still go to the app or the website and find out.
Yeah.
But if I'm doing something else, then at least my head is that rather than, I said it in my pocket. And then the thing was, you would get it from 8 different sources.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like.
Yeah. It's very peaceful when you kind of get away from that.
Yeah.
I got away from mainstream media news and those alerts 2 years ago, and it was very peaceful. But then I got sucked into X. But it's nice to kind of get off the Elon Musk bandwagon as well. Like I don't need to be constantly swayed by what he's thinking and what he wants to do. And he's very what is the word, rash or brash? He's very.
Oh yeah, he says he gets wasted and he does some crazy shit.
He does, but I mean, I don't mind his behaviors and the fact that he's saying crazy shit. But what he's doing is he's changing the algorithm every week, every 2 weeks, based on how he's feeling.
Yeah.
The last 2 months or a few weeks, he's been all about everybody has to say positive stuff. If you're not saying positive stuff, then you're going to be de-boosted on the algorithm. It's like, well, you're the one who's been peddling negative stuff for the last 2 years. And now you want, what is this, LinkedIn? Like you want everybody to kind of like, hey, you're cool. Hey, you're awesome. Hey, you're cool. Hey. It's like, what?
But then what do you make of Zuckerberg getting rid of the fact checking on Facebook?
Yeah. I mean, that guy doesn't have a backbone to start with.
Yeah.
He did exactly what Biden wanted him to do. And he defended that very, very strongly. I mean, there's a lot of proof. He's been to congressional hearing.
I think they all do whatever the incoming president wants. Otherwise, they get.
Yeah, they do. And now he's like, oh shit, Trump's coming in. I need to kind of, get in line here.
Yeah.
And so he started, when he realized that Trump was going to win, he did this letter saying, we didn't want to censor anybody. We were pressured by Biden's people. Yeah. And now he's gone on Joe Rogan. He's trying to he's trying to change his, rhythm. Like I'm a good guy, and it wasn't me,
Like Shaggy said. So, but then, what do you make of Truth Social, right?
Yeah.
Versus X.
Mm-hmm.
So Trump owns one, Elon owns one.
Yeah.
And will Trump come back on X? What's the?
He is on X.
Oh, he's gone back on X.
Yeah, he got back on X
just before the election, did he?
Yeah, 27th of October,
right.
and he did a 3 hour
that thing,
a 3 hour space, which had 150 million listeners.
Right,
it was huge. So he came back, and he's up to 90 million followers. Elon's 220 million, I think.
How many bots are in this?
Yeah, I don't know anything about Truth Social. I don't use it.
No,
I don't use it.
Is it even available here?
Yes.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's on the App Store here.
Yes. Or I've only used it on the browser.
Okay.
Yeah, and there is Blue Sky as well. Haven't used it. I can't. I'm not. It's just no. Yeah. I'm not going to have 10, 20 different social media every day and I had to keep up and trying to, I can't do it.
No.
I've got buffer.com, and it's basically a social media organization type channels you can have. And so I can just take my content, I organize it on buffer.com and I schedule it and it goes out. I'm not even on the app. I'm not seeing what others are doing. I'm not seeing what people are commenting on my stuff. So, no, I'm off. Okay. I don't want to see that stuff. Yeah. I'm just creating content. I run a business. It's media. I'm putting it out there. I'm not sitting and reading everything,
Yeah.
I just want to focus on my craft. I want to do this. I want to focus my time on scheduling, getting people on the show, having good conversations, preparing for the conversations, write my satire news, run the businesses, make sure it's profitable. And I'm not going to get caught up in just every single person having a view about something. I just don't find that for me useful in any way, any shape or form. There's that Joe Rogan tip that never read the comments of your post. Just ignore. Peace of mind.
Yeah.
It's.
I mean, is it purely the comments, or is it also the people that write back to you? So, is it that it's just under the YouTube link or whatever, there's comments, this, that, and the other? Or is it someone that writes back to you, so you post something? Do you ignore that as well? So let's say this podcast comes out.
Yeah.
And, which I guess it will, and then people will be able to comment.
Yep.
And they'll say something. Let's say it's not something rude about me, but something rude about you.
Yeah.
Will you write back to that person?
No.
Right.
Yeah. It's okay for people to dislike you because that's kind of like a good measure.
Yeah.
And you don't have to feel like you have to respond.
See, I didn't have many people, I guess, attack me personally. I guess they did at the end, right? So I had this over the mining thing I'm talking about now, right?
Yeah.
But I would post something and then people that were not part of my circle at all would come in for a bit of a go.
Okay.
And I made a conscious decision, you know what? I'm going to keep going. If you think that you're going to say some stupid shit and that to be the top comment and people thinking, oh, he's got a point there. I'm like, I will go through this until the end. I will wear you out.
Yeah.
And I will prove that you are wrong.
Yeah.
And I don't care how long it takes.
Yeah, I mean, I know, I'm very familiar with that.
There are a lot of people from the last podcast.
Yeah, there was a lot of people. And I don't know why it's bizarre, but I find that a lot of my audience, they love New Zealand First.
Yes,
they know that I don't like New Zealand First. I have nothing to do with it. I don't know why they are all of a sudden, the surge and people trying to explain to me why they're good, and I'm like, I can't compute this. And I'm not a lefty person myself. No. I'm I don't have any political kind of home. But for some reason, my audience,
which is fine,
they love New Zealand First. So when I put out your podcast, they're like, "What the fuck do you think you're doing? You're promoting this, blah blah blah. It's a really good deal." Gilda Kirkpatrick.
Oh yes,
she blocked me on X, and it's like just going back and forth. It's a really good deal. It's 2.1% return on the gold mining. It's an international standard. And it's like, no.
Gilbert and I have had some nights out together, and so
I'm sure you have. Auckland's a very small world.
It is,
and, I'm very supportive of her work, my work. But, people get caught up in these, like, they fight each other and they're like, oh, block because I don't like you saying this or,
And I was just like...
It's all just rage farming.
Yeah. And I was just like, look, I'm going to do my best to help educate. And if someone can educate me and I'm wrong, then great, because I'll learn something.
Yeah.
No one did, actually. And then there were some other people that you tried to push in the right direction, journalists, to say, oh, this could be a part of it, that just never came my way. And then did some of the most lazy journalism I've ever seen in my life. Some very one-sided journalism.
Yeah.
And the stuff that I did, and I totally get it. It should be balanced. You should be able to see this person. The idea behind it, and I did 2 years at journalism school, surely should be for both sides to be presented and then for you to be able to make up your mind.
Yeah. That's where I think a good society should function. You can't just ban Candace Owens from coming to New Zealand to do some events because she's saying offensive things. But that's none of your business because we are a sophisticated society. Yeah. We can listen to her and make up our own mind, but you always have this group of people that love censorship and they think censorship is a good way to stop this rage that comes out of people because that's going to lead to harm. But actually, getting people to rage about things is a good thing because it's part of the process.
Yeah.
You're going to post some stuff and all these guys are raging at you, right? It's part of that process. And sometimes it's good to engage with them. Sometimes it's good to not engage with them.
Yeah.
Right? And then eventually you do it enough that it becomes a normal narrative and a perspective that people go, well, we will listen to that.
Yeah. And look, I mean, not that I want the comments to go crazy here, but I'll tell you, I haven't told anyone this, but I reached out to Shane Jones, over email. And people from his office wrote back. I invited him into my office and said that, look, we could, as regional development minister, we could look at creating a regional office in one of the places, and we could show, that we invested a lot, that we would continue to invest a lot, and that you didn't need to rip up the Coromandel for a 2.1% return, which is just, I can sit down with anyone for any length of time and try an education process on that. So I really thought I could go to Shane and have that conversation. But look, I've probably got 20 emails with his office going back and forth.
Yeah.
And in the end, they asked me to go and talk to Ministry of Business Innovation. And I was just like, okay, well, I've tried, and I said, I've spent $50 million in the last 5 years. I signed those checks, I've done those things, let's go. And instead, you want to go for a really poor return on investment, something that's not going to keep going, not like software. Software, you got pretty much no impact on the environment, right?
The problem you have with New Zealand politics is that they don't know how to work with private sector entrepreneurs that know business to influence government business deals where you have a good return and you do good business. Nothing wrong with farming, mining. A lot can go wrong with mining.
Yeah.
Oceana Gold, December last year, 2024, got done in an audit for 14 breaches in Dunedin and Otago, I believe, in that area, for not following the process. And these guys want to be in the fast track bill.
They are. Which is not good because, you are if you've had 14 breaches, you're going to cause, again, more issues, right? Yes.
So, but, you see in America, there's this, like, everyone's concerned that Trump is enabling an oligarchy of all these elite Elon Musks that are part of the process of the the White House. They're going to influence policy. In many ways, it's like, well, Biden had George Soros.
Oh, look, I think it's...
And Bill Gates. And spent billions of dollars.
Yeah. And then you bring it back to New Zealand, and no offense to the New Zealand First listeners out there, but how does... when Casey Costello had suddenly appear on her desk some ideas for what would work for the smoking industry, right?
Yeah.
And she's got no idea how it got there, but all of it got implemented, and she sent it on to the Department of Health for that. So it's just like, and the two senior officials at the tobacco, what's the big one? Philip Morris, ex-New Zealand First people. Right? And so you don't need to take too long to draw the string, right? It's like, it's poor and it's shoddy, but it seems to happen across the globe, and it just shouldn't.
Yeah.
I think Rishi Sunak's wife became very rich. I mean, she was already very rich, but then I think she bought a lot of the PPE in to the UK in COVID. Apparently it wasn't fit for purpose, but the NHS still paid for it.
Interesting. Yeah, man, I'm with you on that one. I think, I think Shane Jones is busy and being very effective with distracting the public about his performance by engaging in rage farming. So he's attacking the radical left because the people, everybody hates the radical left. They've kind of shot themselves on the foot in many ways. And he's doing that really well in parliament settings, and they're turning into these viral news clips. But there is not much that he is actually talking about in terms of his performance. And it's the same theme across the entire government.
Yeah.
And everyone right now is going, I'm sick and tired of this blame game and gaslighting.
Yes.
What is your performance? Show me your results.
Yes.
Right? And I got a lot of hate for doing that. I started doing that in October.
Doing what?
Criticizing the government.
Oh, right.
Who I voted for.
Right.
I don't still like the radical left. I don't like the Jacindas and those guys who destroyed a lot of the businesses through COVID-19.
How do you think they destroyed businesses? Just so I understand.
Well, I think they just went too overboard with the mandates. They pushed it way too far.
But I don't think that destroyed businesses, right? Because look, politics aside, I love actually going through and figuring these things out.
Yeah.
They gave all of these businesses a huge amount of money to make sure they survived, right? So a lot of businesses, a lot of people that are super critical of the government.
Where did that money come from? They're borrowing that money.
No, of course, but it's less than is being borrowed under this government, and there's no pandemic, So, Nicola Willis seems to have a $10 billion hole that. And this is the other bit that
this is the
other bit that
she's
really,
struggling.
She's struggling. There's been a cabinet reshuffle today, and Shane Reti is out of health, and Simeon Brown is in. So he's now Minister of Health.
That's weird.
Yeah, so he's got infrastructure or whatever it is because he's
got
in charge
transport.
of roads, right? He wants to make people go faster on roads, but then he's got to deal with the mess that is creates in the health system. So there you go.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good satire.
So yeah. So
no, look.
I think you can criticize Jacinda for many things, but probably for having wanting to do so much at a time.
Lockdowns. She didn't need to push too hard.
The last lockdown went too far, and for Aucklanders, it was too much. Look, I was lucky. I didn't have a problem with that. I was, but so many people did, and I get it.
Yeah, so many people did, and
look, for me, the COVID thing was pretty brutal. I mean, it was after COVID, but as I said vaguely in the last podcast, Dad had a stroke and was in hospital for 3 weeks before he died. But I got COVID the week before, so I didn't get that chance to say goodbye to him. And everyone was
that's messed up, you know.
But everyone was like, he was in hospital in Waikato, and I'd been with him every day, and then I had to go to Wellington for some work I was doing with the New Zealand Symphony Orchestra, and then I flew back, and then I was going down, and I thought I should just do a COVID test. And I did, and it came back positive, but I didn't have any symptoms at all.
Right.
And so I went and did rather than just the rat test, I went and did the old school test, and it came back positive as well. So I had it, but with no symptoms. I felt fine, and in the last few days, it was obvious that Dad was going to die, and there was nothing that I wanted to do more than to be with him, to have a final goodbye. But I'm also not a selfish asshole that I'm going to walk in with COVID to a hospital and potentially kill a whole lot of other people in an ICU unit.
COVID was real. I'm with you. COVID was real, and it killed a lot of people.
It did.
But a lot of people also lived.
They did. But no,
right.
And for people of our age, that's probably fine. You could survive COVID, right? The older, frailer people couldn't. And so then you have this thing of, is that okay or is that not? Are you just going to let society get rid of the older people in some kind of natural born process for it?
Yeah, and that's a debate everybody can have. Some people feel that, life is maybe overvalued. Some people think, we should save the old people. Some people, everyone has different views, and I think it's important for everybody to not be censored and share their views. Yeah. Dr. Phil, made a very good point on The View, where he said children that were not allowed to go to school because there was a pandemic and kept home as part of, protecting the kids from the virus. His view is that, backed by science and data and his experience, that caused more harm than kids getting COVID.
Okay, see, because I had two kids that were at high school. One kid that was at high school during COVID and one that had just started university during COVID. Look, their schooling was ruined because of it. There's no doubt, right? They had terrible years. They didn't really get up in the morning, and my oldest daughter still graduated from her film course, but she didn't get the hands-on experience that she would have. Now she's got a job, and that she's learning more and more on the job, and that's fine. But it was a terrible thing. And look, I didn't get to see my parents for a long time. They live in Coromandel. But if I'd given my kids the chance between, having that affected school time or us going to Coromandel to see my parents and killing my dad from COVID, I'd tell you they'd say we'll do what happened, and Grandpa would have survived, And I'm not saying that COVID had anything to do with Dad dying in the end, but that was the thing we were thinking of, and it's it's that weighing up of things, and
and everyone weighs things up differently. They do. I was quite annoyed by it because I was at that time running very new businesses, startups, and it was, if you're not on the go 24 hours a day, then they just die because they're young businesses, they're startups, they run out of gas, they're not stable businesses. So I was on that momentum, So I was quite frustrated to be tied down. I just wanted to go, So I was quite frustrated. A lot of my frustration came from that, and a lot of what I was doing. I spent a lot of money to go do a presentation at Expo 2020, and they said, I can't go. I got to get into this lottery. So I get into this lottery. They're like, well, you haven't won the lottery. You need to apply for an exempt, see if we can give you. And I apply for an exempt saying, your business is not that important enough for you to get this exempt, so you can't go. There's not enough MIQ spots, right? So I was trying to build a global business.
Yeah.
Because I've built it over here. I have the sort of like, I've done the growth hypothesis, it's like a validated the product, right? So I want to go and present and get investments and grow and build. So I was quite frustrated that I couldn't do that. And it had nothing to do with COVID for that specific business, but it was caught up into this whole smoke of the team of 5 million people. Everybody's worried about their parents not dying or this and that. And I'm like, okay, well, is there a better way to manage this, or can I get through the system over here? And I'm not saying you shouldn't worry about your parents, but can I just?
And here's the thing: I reckon if you'd had everyone had more time to know this was happening, could have come up with way better solutions to it. But the thing was, you were running like so hard and so fast. Look, I was COO of a startup in Melbourne at the time. We were doing headphones. And I had taken the job in February, and I think my first day in the office was like mid-February. And I was like, here we go, this is great. And I was leaving Auckland on a Monday morning. I was flying out of Melbourne on a Thursday night, getting back at like 12:30.
Yeah.
So I was half living in Melbourne. And then it was weird because you could see COVID coming. Robbie Williams was playing at the Formula One Grand Prix. Now, Robbie Williams and I've got some Robbie Williams stories later if you want.
Yeah, he's just got a latest movie out as well.
Yeah. So Robbie's people had invited me side of stage to watch the gig. And it was my birthday. You could see everything kind of imploding. On the Wednesday night, I had dinner by myself on my birthday at Nobu. I'd invited some friends to come over for the weekend. We were going to hang out, go to the gig. Everything was cool. It was like party time. And then it was just all imploding. And I think on Robbie's people were like, it's still going ahead. And on the Friday, I think, his manager called me and said, no, we're not going ahead with it. We're going to pull the pin. We won't pull the pin until tomorrow, but it's not happening. I was like, okay, I'm out of here. But on the Thursday afternoon, I think I made a decision I was going to close the office. There's 50, 60 people in the office. I'm like, okay, guys, this isn't good. Everyone work from home. So we'll reassess it next week, see how things are going. But this doesn't feel right. I tell you, the amount of flack I got, he's overreacting. They went to the owners of the company, doesn't know what he's doing, Well, shortly afterwards, you couldn't actually go in anyway. It was mandated that you couldn't. But I just jumped on the next plane out of there. I was like, I need to get home. But it was the day before I'd have had to have spent 2 weeks in MIQ.
Yeah.
Which would have been far out. That would have been tough, I think.
Yeah. At the moment, to be honest, there is a very negative view about the pandemic, the vaccines, the lockdowns. That's the new momentum. I think you would see, especially on X, you see a lot of that. Anything that was if there's a next pandemic, the momentum is so big that even if it's real, it's killing people. These guys
COVID hasn't gone away, though. That's the thing.
It hasn't.
The vaccine has come and it has made it bearable, I guess.
Well, there's a lot of people that I've had on my show. They're very anti-vaccine people as well.
I'm sure there are, but they're not really supported by science. They're supported by their own.
Sure. Do not take your vaccine advice from me.
No.
I'm a shit talker, right? I'm a professional shit talker. So don't take that. But all I'm saying is there's a lot of narratives. I've had Linda Wharton. She runs New Zealand Health Forum. She came on my show. She's not a scientist. She's not a doctor. She's worked in the clinical field for 30 years. And she's talked about how teenagers have suddenly collapsed from taking the vaccine injuries. Her group has 60,000 New Zealanders on this platform. There's 60,000
I'm not surprised.
Kiwis.
Look, I feel like they were marginalised and it's going to have a massive impact on society.
Right.
And the marginalisation of those people made them very angry.
Yeah. It's a very angry crowd.
Yeah, and they're still angry.
Yeah.
And they've got some right to be angry because they were marginalised. And the funny thing is, Winston Peters is one of those people that marginalised them, right?
Yeah.
No offence to the New Zealand First people watching, but you can go back to X and you can see he said, no jab, no dole, right?
Yeah.
He said that. That's fact, right?
Yeah.
Then he saw a way to get that audience engaged with him.
Yeah.
And he went there and they engaged with him. And I would say that audience is highly responsible for him being back in government, because at the time he was not.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that angry crowd, he was able to kind of...
He walked through the crowd, right?
Yeah. And that,
all the other politicians didn't want anything to do with it.
Yeah.
And then they say that the police were too forceful. But look, I had friends. Oh, it's that classic line. I've got friends on both sides. I've got friends that were at they sat in Parliament for a number of days, maybe weeks. One guy that was my next door neighbour in Coromandel, and I managed his band when I started, and probably without him, maybe I'm not in the music industry, right?
Yeah.
But he was all in on it. That was his thing. But I feel that they were marginalised, and it's had a massive impact on society, and I wish they hadn't been marginalised. And so, therefore, if you didn't want the vaccine, then you shouldn't have been forced to sit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and we, I have a very strong constitution, and I believe we shouldn't give away our freedoms easily. If we do, then we have to make sure we take it back, or we are in power. That's, I think, is also, there's a crowd that
what's the definition of freedoms in this thing?
In this thing, it's the freedom of movement. It's the freedom of speech. There was a lot of people that Facebook and Twitter censored who were scientists during COVID. They were ordered by governments to be censored because it did not fit the narrative. If Mark Zuckerberg came out and said anybody that shared anything about the word called vaccine injury, they were removed from the platform.
Okay.
So that is extreme, Linda Wharton, her group on Facebook, 60,000 people, she wakes up one morning, it's disappeared. It's gone. It's disappeared from the face of the earth. And she's taking them to court now. She's taking the New Zealand government to court. Essentially what it looks like is it was the New Zealand government that got involved with Facebook saying, you need to take that group off.
I mean, my question then is, have we not moved on? There are things to spend your time on, right? you know what I mean? And I understand it had massive impact on our country and our society and the people that we are.
Yeah.
But is going to court, it's a different government now. You've got Winston Peters for a little while longer as the deputy prime minister.
Yeah.
He's your biggest ally in government, and yet you're still pushing this.
I don't think anyone's moved on from it. Not even governments have moved on from it.
Well, there's no closed border. There's no one. Once again, tell me I'm wrong, but you are free to travel wherever you want.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
You don't need a vaccine. There's no vaccine mandate for travel.
Yeah.
You don't need to have the jab, so sweet.
Yeah.
Right? So here's my question. With your friend who's been on your show, what does she, what is it money that they're after, or is it a apology, or what does victory in moving on and not, like you can spin your wheels for a long time, right? But what are you achieving? Is it some satisfaction from someone saying we got it wrong and here's a check, or what is it?
She was not willing to talk about her case on the show because it's a ongoing case. Well, I think the counter argument is you have the government that's taking a New Zealand health employee to court for leaking data.
But that is.
So why would you have the same argument? You can say, well, why are you chasing the guy?
That's a totally different argument.
Right.
That is, okay. Okay. Let's say you come work for me.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And let's say you go and give our secret data that we've been working on for however long you've been there to our biggest competitor.
Yeah.
Is that legal or not legal?
That's not legal.
There you go.
Yeah.
He is taking all could be my data, could be your data.
Yeah.
And he's giving it to someone else.
But it's a very different context.
It's what?
It's a different context.
It's not.
No, he doesn't work in a private company.
He works for the government. He's got a employment contract.
Yeah. And the government
that he signed
Yeah.
that says he won't do that. Well, so he's in breach.
He is in breach. He is in breach, and I think he knows that he's in breach. He's not fighting the fact that he's in breach. I think what he's done is he's looked at this organization that serves the public, and he's felt that they're lying to the public because he has data about people who have died from the vaccine. So he's decided to breach his contract to release the data.
I think.
Right. So it's kind of like you have the same situation with this guy who just... The story is that he committed suicide working for OpenAI, right? Did you hear about this story?
Tell me more.
This guy in America who used to work for OpenAI, he quit working with OpenAI, and all of a sudden he died in his apartment. And the conclusion was that he committed suicide, right? His parents show up, they hire a personal investigators and whatnot. Oh. And they think that he's been murdered. He's been murdered because he had information about OpenAI and he was going to expose OpenAI. He is very ethical. He was in breach of his contract by exposing that data, and people didn't want that information to come out, so someone murdered him, right? And so there is one thing about you breaching your contract. There's another thing that you feel for some reason like morally obligated or ethically obligated that there is something that this company is doing, right? That is not right, and I'm going to breach my contract by exposing them. So that's a very different mindset. If I was working for you, right, and I felt that you guys were doing something that was wrong in my eyes, and I can get so sidetracked with my moral compass that I don't care about my contract. I can go and to be honest, I'm not that kind of person. I don't function that way, but I'm just kind of getting into the mind of these people. Right?
Okay, but is this not the more sensible thing to do? Resign from your job. Okay, you've got to look. If I had such a conflict.
Of course, yeah. Why do you want to be in that environment?
Resign from your job. Set up an organization that pushes that barrow, right? Say...
Yeah, there's different ways you can deal with...
Yeah.
You don't go and shoot the CEO of an insurance company on the street in New York because they are screwing everybody. It's like, well, okay, we know that he's doing... the insurance company is an awful, ugly... We know that, but... Do we really want to go killing people on the streets now? Because, we don't like it.
He's in the same prison as P. Diddy and apparently more popular, and it's causing P. Diddy some issue.
I bet he's causing P. Diddy some issues. That's funny. Let me ask you this. I mean, you're a very intelligent, aggressive, hardcore businessman.
Yeah.
Who do you think is good with economics? Is it the left or is it the right when it comes to politics?
I don't think either of them are.
Okay, so what's the solution? How do we fix this whole issue with business and doing bad deals with mining, and not managing our books properly and causing a lot of harm on society and businesses? And there is a new business in Hamilton that just went under. I read about it this morning. They do the electric bikes.
Oh, in Tauranga, I think.
Is it Tauranga?
Yeah. And the old CEOs come back in and given them a bit of a boot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are they called?
E something. We could look it up.
Yeah, UBCO?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Look, I don't... my kind of fundamental thing is I don't think anything's as difficult as people make it out, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm not a big believer in, and you're going to find this strange, but I don't get stressed. Stress to me is a bit of a wasted emotion.
Yes, it is, yeah.
You know, it's not going to help you get to where you need to get to faster. Shouting and screaming at people isn't going to make things better or your life better, and then you're probably going to have to spend cycles apologizing for your behavior, or you decide that you don't like that person anymore, so you decide to fire them. But it's all this cycle of just kind of unraveling in front of you.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think anyone's the New Zealand economy shouldn't be that hard to do. But look, I own property, but I don't think landlords should get a $3.2 billion tax break. They don't need it. They have enough. And it didn't, guess what? Results are in, it didn't drive rents down. So Luxon and Willis, it didn't drive it down. Now Luxon's off selling off all his property. Well, I don't know. He's got, 7, 9 houses, some number, and he's been selling them down over the last few months.
Yeah.
Is that, I don't know, because maybe he'll bring in a capital gains tax in future, but he wants to get it so he doesn't have to pay it. I don't know. These super rich people, like, at what point do you have enough money? Like, at what point do you just go, actually, I'm cool. But none of them seem to. They all seem to want to just keep going and keep going and keep going. I think the books should be balanced. I don't think we needed to give $280 million to the tobacco industry, which is only benefiting Philip Morris. I don't think we needed to give $3.2 billion to landlords. I don't think we should be doing shit mining deals. I don't think we should be overfishing the environment. I think the Hauraki Gulf is in a big state of decline, and I want to be able to go fishing out there. I want to be able to take my kids fishing out there. It's how I grew up. My dad was a commercial fisherman in the Hauraki Gulf when I was born. I get all of this stuff. If people want to debate this stuff with me, I'm all for it. But there are lots of things that we are doing right now, which, Nicola Willis's dad is like head of the Energy Association, the Oil and Gas Association of New Zealand, right? So suddenly the offshore oil ban's being reversed and did it. And now you've got around your beautiful part of the world, is there going to be seabed mining off Taranaki? And, and what will that mean for all the other things that go on around the Taranaki Bight and what impact that's going to have? So I think they've been stupid with the things that they've done. I think there's been a whole lot of stuff that they campaigned on, which guess what? The tax breaks, I don't think, because you've got another $3 or $4 billion there that has gone into tax breaks. And the truth is, what was promised isn't what came through. It's not like the average household actually got $250 a week more in their pocket. They didn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you've got probably there $19 billion that really didn't make a difference. And now we've got a $9 or $10 billion fiscal hole. And guess what? You created it, and now you're having to borrow more. And the services that we're getting as a country are way less. I think you pay taxes, and I don't mind paying taxes. I think it's a good thing as long as the government is responsible. I want a great health system. I want a great education system. I want good roads. I want our areas, our Department of Conservation areas protected both, and then the marine things protected. I don't, all of these things are not that difficult, but successive governments seem to struggle with what are quite basic concepts. And look, I'm not an economist, and I've never been into I've never been an MP or in Parliament, but I don't think can be as difficult as people make out.
Yeah, it's an interesting one to figure out is how does a country make money, makes good money, makes sustainable money? How does a country grow? Where does the country get its revenue from? Is it the tax that it can make from its own people? Is it the trade that it can do with other countries?
I think trade's a massive thing, right?
Yeah.
And one thing, everyone, your listeners frequently criticize Jacinda. One of the things that she said when the pandemic kicked off was that, and everyone's taking as many toilet rolls as they can, right? The toilet roll gate, let's call it, right? As part of the pandemic.
Yeah.
One of the things she said is, we're never going to run out of food or toilet paper.
Right.
We manufacture for the rest of the world. Our big exports are meat, wine, tourism's, obviously not an export, but we benefit from it a lot.
Yep.
And so she was right. We were never going to run out of food. We were always in the right place to have other countries which weren't so rich in those things would have really struggled. But we were never going to run out of food. We import some vegetables, but for the most part, we grow our potatoes in Pukekohe. You know what I mean? We've our kumara up in the far north. There's everywhere you go, the Hawke's Bay, they're all just great producing places. So it's that was never going to be our problem in the pandemic. It was making sure that society what happened with our society didn't happen. And I think in hindsight, we could have worked harder with the minority that didn't want to get vaccinated, I guess.
Yeah. No, I'm just curious to kind of, figure out, because the problem we have now and with the problems we have moving forward in 2025, 2026, 2027 is, how do we get our country out of a depression, an economic depression? How do we grow? How do we
a recession?
How do we get the revenue? One argument is we got to make money from people that live in the country, which is don't give tax breaks to landlords. That's 19 billion over there. We can make 10 billion over here, and you can work that out as a very basic, simple accounting. And then the other argument is growth and trade, and we're not going to get rich. Luxon was saying this a few days ago. We're not going to get rich. I think he was in the UAE doing a trade deal, which is 98.5% tariff-free trade deal, and he was on X saying we're not going to get rich by making money in New Zealand. We're going to get rich by doing trade deals with countries overseas. We're going to grow this trade deal with the UAE in the next 5-10 years to $5 billion each way. Of course, there's concerns about what's in the deal. What is the sovereign fund of the UAE investing in New Zealand? Are they buying our land? Are they doing this? Are they doing that? What is actually going on here in this deal? So you kind of have both sides. I'm simply interested and curious in understanding. Well, how can we grow? Because
I think we grow in all ways, right? Exports is key.
Of course, yeah.
You can survive a pandemic with the food and the wine and everything else that you create in this beautiful country we have.
Yeah.
That's one thing. You can create great software companies. Xero, Rod Drury is probably the prime example.
Rocket Lab,
right?
Yeah.
And all of these things. And that's just some smart people getting backing from some other people, and then they're away.
Yeah.
And
we don't do enough of that.
No.
We don't.
We don't. But I think...
And we don't have we don't have an immigration mindset like Americans do.
Well, I don't know, because I feel that there's. Well, okay, sorry. Let me.
I feel differently as an immigrant.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about like how Americans, like, you know, they cherish immigration and they're built on immigration. They want to protect Elon Musk.
Well, they didn't for a second there. The Republicans nearly imploded, and Elon won his first battle against Trump when it came to the. I'm probably going to get it wrong, but the H-1 visa in America, right? The Republicans came out and said they were going to get rid of it, and I think Elon came in on it, and I think him and Zuckerberg and everyone else is very reliant on very clever developers from other countries.
Yeah.
And so he was like, Elon is flipping all the time, right? Because he went to war with the Republicans on it, and he got Trump to back down, and that was quite a thing, I thought. And then he's also in tight with Nigel Farage, right? The UK politician who led Brexit.
Mm-hmm.
He was, and then he came out on X 2 days after meeting with him and said that they needed a new leader because he wasn't up to it.
Yeah.
Right, so they clearly had a boom issue, and that's that.
Yeah.
But back to the economic question, it's got to be trade deals. It's got to be creating great, sustainable businesses in New Zealand that then you can export. The Zeros, the Rocket Labs. There is, Fisher and Paykel Healthcare. There's a whole lot of those.
Yeah.
And that then creates a share market, hopefully, that you can invest in the NZX.
Yeah.
I know that now Xero is on the Australian Stock Exchange, and that happens when you get big. But then every New Zealander can invest into something that's tech focused, right?
Mm-hmm.
I see the problem being that Oceana Gold is listed in the NZX, right? But it's just, why would we want to invest in? They're not really. The price isn't rocketing anytime soon, I don't think. And there's, you want to create sustainable businesses. Xero, they've got an office in the Hawke's Bay, they've got the office in Wellington, the office in Auckland, and they've got offices all around the world. But it's been great for New Zealand. And some people will have become very, very rich from it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's where the challenge comes, is that I'm listening to you, and you're a very smart business person, but you also have very strong environmental values.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want to see businesses like oil and gas. You don't want to see businesses like Oceana Gold mining and then doing shit deals on the back of that mining where New Zealanders make no money. So what's the point in destroying the land? And I see that argument. And then I see like the likes of Elon Musk, right? He's very qualified to make comments about engineering. He's very qualified to make comments about energy. So I listen to him, right?
Yeah.
And his view is that we need more oil and gas to get to a sustainable pathway, to sustainable transition.
He thinks that.
That's right.
And he makes electric cars.
That's right. Which is very bizarre, right? So...
Are you sure he thinks that?
Yep. I will send you the clips. You can watch it yourself. He's made those comments many times on X that you need more oil and gas to get to transition. You can't just shut it down and then trying to build sustainable energy.
I'm not saying...
Which is what we did here. We shut it down.
Yeah, but we weren't bringing it in. It wasn't a profitable business for us, right?
I don't know much about it.
Okay.
I don't know much about it. But I think...
Look, New Zealand is not a country like Norway or Australia. Yeah, we're going... Like many countries around the world that have huge amounts of oil.
Yeah.
There might be some, but we're not going to be producing billions of litres of crude oil a year, are we? It's just not going to happen.
Look, I grew up in the UAE, right? And the lesson that I was taught is we're going to transition at some point. So you're not going into the oil and gas sector.
Yeah.
Right? We want you to think about doing technology, artificial intelligence. We want you to think about doing sustainable energy. And I was like, cool. But at the same time, we continued to push investments and into oil and gas. We still do.
We?
The UAE.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we're still pumping oil.
Of course you are.
Right? But at the same time, we're doing sustainable as well.
Yes.
Okay? And this has been going on for 30, 40 years. So my gut feeling, the problems that we have in New Zealand are really around management. There's an issue around managing these things in a very smart way that everything can coexist, where we can maximize the output.
Yes.
That seems to be the problem.
The fundamental issue is that I don't think, this is going to sound totally brutal, but whatever.
Yeah.
The people we have in Parliament are not that smart.
Yeah.
Honestly, Luxon's come in thinking he's, the CEO way is the way to do it. Look, I'm a CEO, sweet as. Dude, it's not.
No.
It's not.
He's not. He's a bureaucrat politician.
And he has, look, there are a few things that frustrate me about him, but the way he talks, what I'd say to you is, dude, I'm listening to you. You don't need to start with that, but that's clearly he's been taught in some media training, right?
Yeah,
this is my thought.
It's awful.
Yeah,
just cut it out, man.
Just he's giving himself 4 seconds, I reckon, to run over what he's going to say.
Yeah.
So he goes automatically to what I'd say to you is, and that gives him that moment to then. It's like, just tell me. Whatever it is, I don't need this little interlude beforehand.
Yeah, he needs to come on this podcast and talk for 3 hours, and then we can listen to him.
They struggled to get him on Q&A once last year. So
that was bad.
That was really bad.
That was bad. I mean, I think the format is also not right. You got 20, 30 minutes and you've got the Prime Minister. You want to do a reflection of the year and you want to cover everything.
But they would have by the sounds of it, they would have had him on many times more during the year, and then he could have had a bigger vehicle to talk his stuff through.
Yeah, I think you're right. The New Zealand Parliament could be smaller.
It's not even the number of people.
No, well, it is. I mean, if you have a problem with the management of a business, you got to say, well, is it too big? Is it too small? Do we have too many people that we don't need? Same thing with Elon did with Twitter. He reduced it by 70%. He wants to reduce the American government by 30%.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so look,
maybe that's the problem.
Okay. And Christopher and Nicola thought the same thing, right?
Right.
And they campaigned on it.
Mm-hmm.
Where is Wellington right now as a city? When you got rid of, 5,000 public servants all out of Wellington?
Mm-hmm.
Is every cafe closing down? Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I say every. There's 20 plus cafes shut down, right?
Don't you think we have too many public servants?
Possibly. Uh-huh. It depends what they're doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But were they doing a job, and were they doing a job, because this is what you're weighing up, were those public servants doing a better job than the tax breaks for the landlords?
Right.
Yeah, because it's one or the other, probably, right?
Right.
These are the decisions. You're sitting there, you and me, we just got elected to government, got all this money to play with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what I want is a good health system, right?
Mm-hmm.
By Luxon getting rid of Reti today, I think he's saying you didn't do a good job, which means he didn't do a good job either, Luxon himself, right? Because he hasn't managed it properly. I don't know if you remember pre the election, but Reti was a bit of an ambulance chaser. He went in ambulances because he's a medical doctor, and then came out and went, oh, the waiting time's too big, there's all these issues, I'll fix it, and then didn't. Now my middle daughter is training to be a nurse.
Uh-huh.
Okay? She's in her second year of nursing school in Dunedin. Prior to the election, and I can send you this one if you haven't seen it, Christopher got up and said, we are sick of people going to Australia when they've done all their nurse training.
I remember that.
Yep. We will give them extra money to stay in New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
We will, that all of these promises, $10,000 tax free for your studies and all of this.
That.
Okay, guess what? Guess how much of that's happened?
How much?
0.
Wow.
Right? So you've campaigned on this. You didn't deliver it. You didn't campaign on giving tobacco companies extra money, and you did it. Mm-hmm. And you're saying you still want to be smoke-free 2025. You're dreaming. And this is the other problem I have with politicians, I guess, in general, is I say, the Casey Costello thing, right? You are, you're going to kill more people because they're going to smoke. And then it's like, you haven't listened to the question and you've just gone off on your talking points. We are still committed to a smoke-free 2025. And mate, you're not. You are not.
Yeah, be honest.
Yeah, let's just
There's a lack of honesty. And I think the way Christopher Luxon talks as well, there's a lack of honesty. It's almost like he's a media PR talk instead of being authentic and honest about what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of that.
Yeah. It's like just actually be honest with the people.
Yeah, the reality is.
I also don't think he's very well briefed, and I don't think he does enough reading. Yeah. And your audience will criticize Jacinda till the cows come home, and that's fine. Guess what? By all accounts, she read everything. She seemed to be very knowledgeable. If you asked her something at the press conference,
she's a smart person. Don't get me wrong, but I think that you look at politicians, they get treated through these sort of optics.
Yep.
Right. I mean, you look at like someone.
So you sign up for that.
You do.
Sign up. So you sign up for your life coming under some scrutiny.
You do.
You know what I mean?
You do. And at the moment, she's hated, and that's the way it is.
Oh, she's never coming back.
She's never coming back.
She's not going to be a politician again, and she doesn't need to be.
Winston Churchill, okay?
Yes.
He is, single-handedly responsible for fighting Hitler in many ways, right? But the moment he won the war, he was out of the office. He was kicked out after months. You would think that they would appoint him as the forever prime minister for beating Hitler, right? But no, he was gone. He said, "Get out. We've had enough of you," right?
Yeah.
That's, so much of that is politics in many ways, Trump losing in 2020, obviously, he can debate about that he was cheated, and then now he's come back.
I mean, he can, but
he can. But he's come back. He's come back, and the view about Trump has totally changed. There's so much positivity about him, right? So it can happen. I mean, it swings, and there was a union, the tax union just
Taxpayers union.
Yeah, they just did a poll.
The Curia poll.
And Labour is back up.
Yes.
So you never know where these things go. The problem I have is, it's so embarrassing to hear this, actually. I was very embarrassed. That Iraq had more GDP growth per capita in 2024 than New Zealand.
Yeah, but it surprises me not at all, because guess what? I don't think they've done a good job. I think people voted for them because they wanted some economic management, right? What they got was a whole lot of cuts from areas that people were spending on. Maybe there were too many public servants, maybe there, whatever, all of that, right? But they just gave the money away on the other side. Fiscal management would have been holding on to that cash and putting it towards debt. You know what I mean? And so I just think that the other thing that I think...
My view is they should have done what Javier Milei did in Argentina. I don't know if you follow him.
No, I would know
his politics, but basically he's popularized this whole chainsaw method. Just cut, and he's taken Argentina to a surplus. First time ever in 100 years.
How's society? How's their health? How's their education?
I don't know much about that.
Okay.
I don't know much about that.
And look, I'm going to come back to that, but you pay your taxes for health and education, roads, all of these things. You want if you're sick, you want great hospital. Now
you do, but I think my conclusion with this debate is we gotta cut. We gotta be efficient. We don't want to cut services. Okay. We don't want to cut services. We want people to have good services.
Here's the problem: we are cutting services, and
we shouldn't. We should be more. We should
but
invest
we're giving
in being
them
more
money
efficient.
to tax breaks for rich people. I'm one of them. I would rather.
Are you getting tax breaks?
I don't need the tax break.
I'll give you my bank account number.
Yeah. Look, I give a lot of money away because I want to charities because I want the right thing to happen. Whether it helps or not, I don't know. But I would really like to see less homeless people.
So do you think if Labour's back into power with the Greens, do you think New Zealand will be better off? Is that how you would see it?
I'm going to take a step back and then we can come back. And I'm not trying to be political. Here's my problem with it, right? What MMP has demonstrated for me is that the smaller parties get a far bigger slice of choosing what happens in our country than they potentially should. I'm not saying necessarily MMP.
I agree with you.
MMP is necessarily the problem, but I think that was Luxon's first failing. Was not because
giving too much to Winston.
Yes,
when Bill English didn't,
and Seymour,
and Bill English didn't.
There is no doubt that Seymour, and he stood outside my house on Friday morning talking to my neighbour, and look, I think. Oh, I'm just going to say he's a racist. He's a racist, and he's done an amazing job of getting that 8 or 9% of people that are with him on that, right?
Right.
And
what makes him a racist? How would you define? What is the definition of racism for you, and how does that make him a racist?
I mean, I think the definition of racism is the same across the board.
Like seeing someone else inferior to you? Would that be a definition of you?
Look, if you're a white person seeing a person of colour and not liking them because they're a person of colour, that's a racist. Because to me, it makes...
Because you're seeing them as inferior to you.
You're just... Whether it's inferior...
I think that's a fair definition of racism.
To me, it doesn't matter...
And it exists. But racism also exists in brown people. We are racist too.
Sure. It's not a great trait though, is it?
No.
It shouldn't matter. Look, it shouldn't matter what colour you are.
Yeah.
And so this treaty principles bill, right? He knows it's not going through. Mm-hmm. Luxon was weak, like properly weak. The guy came in on a thing saying he was brilliant at mergers and acquisitions. Guess what? He lied. He'd never done a merger or an acquisition.
Is that true?
100% true. I've looked at it and he has not. Never done one. I mean, he was involved in selling off the Virgin Australia share that they had when he was at Air New Zealand. But that's only because he didn't get on with the Virgin guy. And Air New Zealand lost a lot of taxpayers' money on that deal. But that's not a merger or an acquisition. It was a sell-off, right? Mm-hmm. You look at Unilever for the entire time he was there when he was in the deodorant division. Guess what? They didn't buy any more deodorant divisions or deodorant companies. So the guy has come in on this thing, I'm amazing at this. Guess what he wasn't? He was so desperate to be in power that he rolled over to Winnie and Seymour, right? And your audience will be happy that when he was back in power. But they had to give, look, Shane Jones got another $1 billion for his thing. And guess what? Labor did the same thing under the previous government so that Shane could look after the regions, even though he doesn't.
Luxon wanted to prove to John Key and Bill English that he can cut better deals in an MPP environment than Bill English could.
But they didn't. They didn't. The deal he cut was terrible because the treaty
not a better deal that he could do a deal. That's I think what he wanted to prove, that he could do a deal, and in the process of doing the deal,
you and I could do the deal as well. And look, I don't know your economic snooze, but guess what? I'll put money on you that you could do a better deal. If the cards that you were given in the last election and you were the National Party leader, I reckon you could have done a better deal.
I don't think I could.
I promise you I could have.
You know why? Because of the MMP environment. We just can't do those great deals.
But
because these guys...
But here's the thing. National and Labour are very close to each other, right? Mm-hmm. The Radical are on one side, it's the Greens. On one side, it's ACT
and the Maori Party.
Sure, okay, sorry, yep, okay. Right, so you've got two on each side, and then you've got Labour and National.
Quite in the centre, yeah.
You're right. They're centric, right? But and one says they're better for business. Guess what? I haven't seen it. I have not seen it, and I've been business in this country for...
Yeah, it's not a good look. I mean, yeah, it's pretty terrible. I mean, I'm quite embarrassed myself. I voted for National. I'm not going to vote for them again. But I don't feel
you'll get some of your listeners suggesting New Zealand First next time around, mate.
Yeah, I think that everyone's kind of doing that. But I think I'm out. I'm out of politics. I just...
What, you were going to become a politician?
No, I'm out of this whole voting thing, this whole politics thing. I just...
What's your definition of out?
I'm homeless now. I don't have I was National Party for 14 years. I'm homeless
you don't
now.
have anyone to vote for.
No, I don't.
But you were still going to... Okay, but here's the big question that everyone on the podcast wants to know. Will you vote in the next election?
I don't know.
See, there you go. And that's a terrible thing, right? We get once every 3 years a chance to...
I like less government. I lived most of my life with less government. My government had nothing to do with my life. And then COVID came along, government had everything to do with my life. And I'm like, man, this is fucked up. I mean...
But they've got way less to do with it now than they did.
Now, yes. Now they're out. I got nothing to do with government. I like less government.
You drive on the roads, right?
Yes,
you pay the GST.
Yes. Yeah, I'm just off the cuff making like...
I know, but
they do.
People, you still pay your tax.
Yeah.
These things, right? People are like, it's not true. Just like, let's face it. Not you, people in general, right? Everyone.
People can have enough and they're like, I'm checking out. Like, this is ridiculous.
You can't. I mean, yes, you can decide not to vote. Yeah. That's your democratic right.
Yeah.
But then I think if you make that decision, you've also got no right to complain.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know what I mean? Like, with you, I'm going to make it that, guess what, you can't complain about the COVID stuff because you didn't vote this time. So, also that wipes out your ability to have a...
That's fine. I had a lot of my friends said, don't say this on your podcast because people are going to hold you to it. And every time you complain or you write a story, people are going to be like, what are you doing? Look, I mean, I think less government doing the basics right, it's a good thing. We need government. I'm not saying we don't need government. Less government and then allow private sector to do the rest, I think.
Okay, so you live... in New Plymouth part of the time.
Yeah.
Have you been to the local hospital recently?
I think I did. I think I took my daughter.
I was going to say that. Okay, so you went to the ED room or you went to see if she needed grommets or something like that?
I took to the ED room once and I sat there for 5 hours and then I left.
Okay. And
without getting service.
Right. So, right. And
they have more security people now.
Okay. And you pay tax. Do you think that was a good thing? Okay, cool.
I was fucked off.
Okay, good. Because guess what? You pay tax, right?
Yeah, of course.
And you want, when you pay tax, if your daughter's sick, you want the best service for her because she's the most important thing in your world.
It's a bit selfish, but yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. But guess what? It's not that selfish because you will find that every parent in this country, I think, will feel the same. When their daughter, their son, their grandson is sick, guess what? There's nothing more important than getting them better, right?
The Taranaki hospital system has a lot of issues.
Okay.
They don't even, let me give you this. This is going to get you.
It's called Taranaki Base Hospital, isn't it?
Yeah. They don't have a cancer treatment center.
Yeah.
Okay. So what they do with cancer people...
Take them to the Waikato or Wellington.
No, they give them a voucher and put them in a bus. And then the bus takes them on a 4-hour journey to do chemo and then come back sitting in a bus.
Okay.
fucked up, man.
It's totally fucked up. Okay, so let's say you and I are running the next government, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you want to fix Taranaki Base Hospital, Whakatane Base Hospital, all of these hospitals so that people with cancer and people that are sick get treated better? Because look, a lot of the people
with privatizing it.
No, you don't.
Because I grew up in the Emirates, we have a very big.
You do not want to explore it.
Why?
Because you will end up like America, right?
And then have Luigi shoot me.
Not for exploring it, but if you want to become the CEO, see, look. Here's the thing: you have that opportunity to.
So why have we not fixed it? What's the drama with pulling it all out? Why did National decide to pull out of it? What's your take on it?
I think that you've got the landlord lobby decided that they wanted that to be more important, right?
Uh-huh.
You've got what happened to the ferries? Do you think that the big trucking companies didn't want to see stuff move to rail? So now we've lost probably $1 billion in fucking around with these ferries, and we still don't have ferries, right? We need some infrastructure between the two islands.
Right.
You need the ferries to have some rail capacity. Now, Winston's clearly gone in there and, I guess, pushed Nicola aside. And once again, I'd say your mate, Chris Luxon, has not done a great job. He hasn't protected his finance minister. And now Winnie's got the job of sorting out the ferries. But they've spent a year. We could have had these ferries nearly. And now we are nowhere. And the health system is appalling, right? It should not be the case. Your daughter shouldn't have to wait 5 hours. We should not have to have our nurses going offshore.
I'm with you, man. My daughter waited for 3 years to have her tonsils removed, and they said, fuck off. We'll call you when we think we can service you. Don't give us a call and fuck off.
Right.
That's basically
because they don't have the money.
They're doing the same thing with my 3-year-old now. She's got tonsils. They're at a chronic level, and they're basically telling me to fuck off, and we'll call you when we think we can service you.
Okay. See? And now I'm uncovering these things.
These things are real.
You do want government, and you want government to do the key things, the health.
Do them well.
Right. Exactly. Now, a lot of the people that have cancer and need the chemo, they're older people, which maybe over COVID times we didn't mind them dying. Your people. Now, the thing is, they've paid taxes for 40 plus years, a lot of them. And now they haven't really had to rely on the health system. And now they are. But the older generation have financed the lifestyle that I've grown up in. And I think they should be able to get the chemo in their local town, that we should have ambulances and we should have an ED waiting time that's not crazy. We should be paying nurses to stay in New Zealand just like teachers. None of it should be that hard. If you can afford to buy a house, guess what? You don't need a tax break. How rich do you need to be? It has not driven down rents at all.
So you're basically saying we should have not given landlords tax breaks, take that $19 billion and invest it into health and all the things that we need.
Yes. Landlords don't need it. They just don't. It has not been an economically wise decision.
Apparently, what Labour learned after the elections, that they made a mistake to not go down the pathway of implementing a capital gain tax.
Yes.
If they had, they would have got more votes.
Okay, so that comes back to my thing. Why is Luxon suddenly selling off his investment properties at a time where, yes, the market's bouncing back a bit, but not hugely? Do you think, if you know it, then does National know it? And is then Luxon going, I'm just offloading all of these.
And then I'll bring in a capital gain tax because we need the money and we're not going to be borrowing.
That's the thing.
More.
They either, to get us out of this deficit, they either need to cut hugely more or generate more income from tax.
That's it. That's the two ways. And trade.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which will be a
trade
slow
will always
burn.
take time.
Yeah, slow burn.
Yeah.
Slow burn. Yeah. Yeah, and I think they're going to cut more.
Well, they will, but it's not going to be, it's to the detriment of our society.
Yeah, and I think people are going to be pissed off come next election.
Yes. And guess what? It'll be the same again, right? I reckon, here's my prediction. We'll see what happens. Swing to the left a little. Greens seem to be holding their bit, but it's always, as long as Winnie gets over the 5 and Seymour gets over the 5, they end up in this position of power. But what Luxon should have done was be more hardcore in the negotiation and said, I'm not going to do this, that, and the other. I mean, clearly the mining stuff was part of New Zealand First's mandate, right? They were like, this in the fishing industry. So you have groups, the fishing industry, the network of truck, people that have influenced this government more than they should. Now look, I've got shares in Main Freight and they've done very, very well for me. But this is we still need rail. There are things we need, and I just wish some of these companies and lobbyists could see what's better for our country rather than just lining their pockets. I'm probably, I guess, a capitalist at heart. I like making money, but I think there are ways to do it where you're just not a greedy asshole that just wants to fuck over society for your own, wealth. And that's why I'm focused on doing sustainable software that has a very, very little impact on the environment, yet generates lots of money, lots of jobs, and that's where New Zealand should be focusing.
Yeah. I mean, you listen to someone like Elon Musk, he never talks about, I want to make more money and I want to have a bigger net worth because I want to, he always says, well, if you create value and if you create stuff that people need and it's valuable, then there's a value to it, right? And that's sort of how it comes about. And I guess you are in that frame. You create stuff that's valuable, that's value, that has a good value, and then that's where the value comes from. One thing I like about Elon is he's not one of those billionaires that has a very high personal consumption track record. He doesn't consume the way he earns. He's not living in mansions.
Oh, right.
He rents. He just stays at his friends' spare rooms. And he lives at Boca Chica in a little house where he builds the rockets that he bought for $50,000 that he's just put on this land. One of those houses that are pre-built.
Oh, yes.
He's bought a $50,000 house, a pre-built house. He's just chucked it on this piece of land. He stays in his friend's house. He owns no asset. He has a private jet, which is through Tesla, and he uses that to travel for work around the world for his businesses. He doesn't have a high consumption habit. Like, he doesn't have a high consumption lifestyle. Yeah. He's not spending $1 billion a day or, $1 million a day when he has $440 billion, right? He's soon going to have $1 trillion. That's going to be his net worth, right? And I like that about him because he's not living in mansions and helicopter pads and pools.
He's not like Luxon with his 7 or 9.
He doesn't have 7 apartments.
He could, couldn't he?
He could
have lots of them.
Yeah, and then he could influence Trump to give him tax breaks, and
I'm sure that happens. I'll put a lot
It's such a cheap thing for someone like a prime minister to peddle apartments in South Auckland. Such a cheap look. Like,
yes, but
what the hell are you doing?
But that's also like taking the grant, saying that Premier House, which every New Zealand Prime Minister has lived in.
What the fuck are you doing, dude?
Yeah, saying it's not good enough, which, maybe it needed some renovations. Let's say it did, because maybe the New Zealand Air Force needed to replace the 757s as well. But successive governments always think they're going to get labelled with you just want a new jet for yourself, and you just want a nicer house for yourself. But then to not live in it and then be mortgage free on an apartment right across the road from Parliament and then stay there have no mortgage and still claim it. It's just fucking wrong.
I think
while you're if we were doing it amazingly as a country,
the problem is a lot of New Zealanders live that mindset. They live in that mindset. That's their life. Renovations, buy a house, sell a house, buy a house, make money over here. That's the system that they're taught to live in.
No, but
that's New Zealand for you.
But he's helped
you
create.
You and me are like a 0.1% of people that want to be entrepreneurs and build stuff and create value.
See, I don't even.
So
I don't even know if I want to be an entrepreneur or anything. I just this comes back to this thing of me.
That's not your choice. That's how your brain works.
Yeah, I guess so. But my thing is, like I say, I think things are simpler. People make things too complicated.
Yeah.
And
governments are too complicated.
Yeah.
One way to make it simpler is make it smaller.
Yes, but
don't cut the services. Make sure it's good services.
But the bureaucrats that were let go, a lot of them from the health system, right?
The middle managers.
Yeah, but then what do come on, if it's worked, it could always work better. You always want to get things better. But there are some major issues now, right, in the health system because of the cuts. And so
you think they've made the wrong cuts?
Yes.
What could be the good cuts? Where can we cut from government that's good?
Tax breaks for landlords, tax breaks for cigarette companies. Like they're not spending $1 billion plus on ghost ferries. Like all of these things that I'm saying are actual. As much as your audience may not want to hear them, it's the truth.
But these things were done by the previous Labour government. Did it work?
No, hang on, rewind. What do you mean they were done?
Did they not have these things? Their policies like smoke free. Labour government had smoke free.
Yes, and it was on the right track. But then it's been reversed.
Right.
I think if that had just
did the Labour do capital gain tax on landlords, or did they give tax breaks?
Neither. I think they stopped the interest deductibility for rental properties, which a whole lot of people with multiple houses upset. Dude, if you can afford lots of houses,
get on with it.
Stop complaining.
Right.
You're rich, right? And you want to be richer, and you think the government should help you because you donate to that government.
Yeah.
So I think they are,
I'm with you,
sad to say, in the pocket of their donors.
Right.
Fishing industry, for your friends at New Zealand First. I
have no friends at New Zealand
No.
First.
I mean the
my audience,
fishing industry, mining industry for New Zealand First. Seymour is obviously under the thumb of the Debbie Gibbs, Alan Gibbs's daughter, who runs the Atlas Network. I mean, that guy, when he was in Canada, suddenly had a Canadian accent when he went on telly.
Tell me more about this Atlas company. What did they do?
No, they're a network. So they are, this is a can of worms here, right? But
yeah, go for it.
The Atlas Network are the ones that help the Taxpayers Union and the Free Speech Federation and all of these ones, and it's all around the world, and it's run by Debbie Gibbs, who lives in New York, made her money. She didn't. She managed some New Zealand bands in the 80s, mainly Flying Nun bands, right?
Uh-huh.
But her dad is Alan Gibbs, the multi-billionaire who made his money through breweries.
Okay.
And she now runs the Atlas Network. And so you go and look.
And David Seymour is somehow involved in it?
Yes. ACT is.
And what does the Atlas Network do today?
It collects a lot of money from a lot of big corporations and then feeds it back
into government.
And you'll see
in return they get lobbying.
Yes.
I see.
So the Atlas Network are a bunch of very powerful companies and individuals. So you can look up which New Zealand companies donate to the Atlas Network, and it's all listed out there. So you'll see some big New Zealand companies.
Interesting.
There.
There's a lot of people that invest into National Party.
Yes.
The guy that, consumes most of the plastic on the earth, the guy who founded Zuru.
Oh, yes.
What's his name?
Yes. Mowbray.
Nick Mowbray.
Yeah.
Yeah. The largest plastic consumer in the world. Now that is false. I'm just being silly because I don't know who is the largest consumer.
Yeah,
but
Graham Hart is probably up there as well because he's
really?
got. Well, yeah, because he owns plastic manufacturing in America.
Does he?
Yeah, I think so. So I think you've got two New Zealand billionaires
and
there.
They spend a lot of money on National Party?
National Party and ACT.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yes. And I think you will see when you do your research further.
Nobody's a saint in politics is the point over here.
No, there's not.
Yeah.
And look, I've never been in politics. I just like to... Like you shoot my mouth off about these things.
Man, that's why we have a podcast, right?
Exactly.
We got nothing to do with politics.
Yeah.
We're not involved in any parties. We're not a member, and we have the right to speak and call these people out how we see it.
And so both Graham Hart and Mowbray donated a lot to both of those guys. And
I'm not too sure what Nick gets out of it because his
businesses
honestly, are in China.
Here's my thing. He wants to be the next John Key, Christopher Luxon. He wants to be the rich guy that comes in as the leader of the National Party and becomes a PM. So
really,
he
wants to do that. You think?
Why did John Key do it? He already had enough net worth. He had he had more than $50 million in the bank, right? What ego, right? No. Plus, you wanted to change the flag and you wanted to get Sir after your name. At the start of your name.
And play golf with Obama.
Yes, right. So Mowbray, he's got enough money.
And bend over backwards to Hollywood and get Kim.com arrested.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And Luxon's very much connected to BlackRock.
Yes, but the Solar Zero thing's very interesting.
What is the Solar Zero thing?
So that was the company that BlackRock put money into.
Uh-huh.
And they were the company that you would then, they'd come in and put the solar panels on your roof and you'd pay it off over 25 years. But they needed, obviously, finance to do that. But they were the biggest solar power, I think, company in New Zealand. And BlackRock pulled out and they went under. And now a whole lot of people are out of jobs. And
wow.
But that's the economy we're in right now. We're in a recession. I think.
Have you seen these? Sorry, finish your point.
No. Go.
Sorry, I got
sidetracked. No. Go with your sidetrack.
But the economy is fucked. Yeah, I'm with you. Have you seen all these solar panels on like nice green farms?
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about? This company that went under?
No. They were on roofs.
On roofs. But have you seen the farms?
Oh,
they're
doing solar farms. I don't think that was a Solar Zero thing.
Yeah, I know. But I'm just saying, have you
so
generally seen them?
I haven't really seen them. But I can, look, I've not driven past any fields of them. But I've driven through France. And I've seen nuclear power plants. And I'm like, if I had to choose between a nuclear power plant and some...
solar panels on a farm.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then you could go windmills, wind turbines in Wellington. Is that a better way to create?
Well, Trump hates wind turbines. He wants every single one of them to be removed.
I know, because he thought they created cancer or some shit. I mean, and then you've got
there's a lot
of potential for underwater, like in the Cook Strait, having turbines in there that also create energy, right?
There's a lot of people not happy about these solar farms, I'm telling you, man. People are very angry about them.
Okay.
Because there's this narrative that they're stealing lands from farmers, not growing food, and they're doing all these...
Okay, let me stop you there.
Have you heard of this?
No, but I'm all about it. Mm-hmm. Because here's the thing, right? I think farmers have... This is not going to be controversial. I know you think it is. But here's my logic for the mining thing, right? Farmers have been the backbone of New Zealand since forever, right? Plus 100 plus years. We can say New Zealand's been a farming-driven country, and we've exported amazingly, and our lamb was best in the world, and da-da-da. So I think, boom, put that down. Farmers, backbone of New Zealand, and should be supported. What I'd say to the government is, why are you letting overseas mining companies get free land to bust the shit out of our land, give you 2.1% back on it, right? Why? When you've made the farmers buy the land and pay for every bit of it, and they don't get to return it after they've finished with it.
Yeah, it's bizarre. I mean, all of the stuff we were talking about, from the surface, most people think, oh, it's just normal stuff. Get on with it. Oh, it's good because we're investing in the economy and businesses. But for a lot of people, it's like there's something weird going on when you look behind the scene where the money's coming from and who's involved, and you go, I see what's going on over here.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with all the good stuff.
It's not good for New Zealand. Straight up, just, and I have some interesting chats with the mining.
I recently heard Elon Musk talking about nuclear energy because he was asked about it, and he thinks it's very safe. He thinks there's a lot of negativity about it because of what's happened. But there's
and when you say what's happened, you mean let's start with the.
Sorry, I didn't mean to brush it off.
No, okay, but let's look. What did happen, right? So you've got Chernobyl, which was clearly a bit of an issue, but that seemed like a mistake, right? Rather than okay.
But it's back now. It's back now. It's fine now.
Oh, it's fine now. Yeah, great. I mean, a lot of people died, and okay. Then you've got. Let's take. Was it Fukushima? Is that on my birthday? When the Japanese tsunami hit, and then it wiped out the nuclear power plant.
Yeah.
Right? Now, unless you can find a place on Earth which is not going to be hit by natural disasters, earthquakes, tsunamis, etc., then can nuclear power really be that safe? Because, and maybe I'm going to open another can of worms here. Okay, we've got global warming, we've got all these... we've got once in 100-year weather events happening every year. So guess what? Statistically, they should rename them once a year floods or once a decade. They're not once in 100 years anymore. They're coming more and more. You've got wildfires. I don't know how hot, how big a fire you'd need. So let's take LA, right? If could that blow up a nuclear reactor? Like, at what point are these natural things actually going to blow shit up?
I think we worry about things a little bit too much than we should.
Okay.
Yes.
That's not an okay. I agree with you. That's an okay. I'm looking forward to you proving this point.
You're looking forward to beating me up.
Yeah.
But it's like, yes, you've had a disaster in Fukushima with the nuclear, and it's destroyed, and it's the reactions everywhere, and but then you have someone like Elon Musk saying, "Oh, I've been there, and I've on TV."
Do you think you listen to Elon Musk too much and believe everything he says?
No, I don't. I'm just using him as an example because, okay, forget Elon Musk. People have been to Fukushima and they have eaten grown vegetables out of the area where everybody thinks, oh, there's still radioactive material here and it's deadly.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Okay, right. Because you've got people that... So I did my... you're going to love this. I did my 5th form school C history project on the history of nuclear weapons testing in the South Pacific, 1945 to 1985.
Yeah.
I interviewed David Donoghue, Fran Wild, who was the Minister of Disarmament, the French ambassador, because I was dating his daughter at the time. I spent a bit of time on it. I got 96% for it, so it was by far my best ever schooling result. And the thing is, I'll just use, there were people that went up and protested in the 70s at Mururoa where they were doing the nuclear testing, right? And there were and they sent a New Zealand frigate up. I'm going to call it the HMS Canterbury, but I could have that wrong and someone might correct me on it, right? The people that were on the ferry, on the frigate, and the people that went to protest it, they're all dying of cancer. They didn't die straight away from eating the vegetables from the nuclear reactor.
Yep.
But guess what? 20, 30 years later, they are all dying because the nuclear killed them, right? Yep. If your audience is so worried about getting a jab in their arm to protect them from what is not a made-up disease in my mind, right? But they think that nuclear power in New Zealand is a good thing and nothing bad will happen when there is evidence from across the world that if something goes wrong, guess what? You're fucked. You die.
Yep.
Right? You know.
I think I'm talking. I wanted to lead to the point that right now there are these small modular nuclear reactors. They come in the size of a container, not the size that you have seen of these factories built in Chernobyl and Fukushima. They come in the size of a container, a shipping container.
Yeah.
Right. And the argument is to navigate through the fear of nuclear reactors at that size to advanced technology today, and nuclear reactors that are very tiny, and they are small. They're small to power data centers, right? Their nuclear energy is not where it's at now to power cities. We're talking about data centers. We're talking about factories and all these little things. And there is an argument, and a lot of companies like Oracle are investing billions in small nuclear reactors to run their data centers.
Sure.
And how much of a scare is that going to be compared to Fukushima?
Okay. Let's and let's look at New Zealand. And I think we can finish this bit pretty quickly. Does New Zealand need to produce more power, or do we have?
I don't know. Do we need more power?
I don't think so. I think we've got. Here's my thing. We've got an amazing hydro system, right? Which is, look, we've got that. We can do enough solar and then enough wind, right?
Yep.
Power, I don't think is our problem.
Okay.
I don't think we need.
We don't need more gas.
So, I mean, look, here's the thing. Some of the businesses that use the most power is the one in Southland that Rio Tinto Zinc has that, it uses a huge amount of our grid power, but they tried to shut it down, and then the government was worried about losing jobs down there, so they've helped subsidise it. But makes very little sense. I think it's a very economically unviable project in time. So we could get rid of some things that use a lot of our grid capacity and actually have a better, I think we produce enough, and we could produce more if we wanted to, through solar and through wind. I think hydro, look, think big in the 70s, created these things that we now have, and then it was privatized in the 80s. And I think now we probably can make enough turbines and so forth moving forward that we don't need, unless we get some huge expansion of people, which comes back to the immigration thing we were on earlier before we got sidetracked.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
What did you say about immigration, that you felt that we'd stopped the immigration or there weren't that many people coming in now? What was your thoughts on immigration?
What was I saying? I was just making the point that New Zealand as a country is so caught up in this narrative of the two peoples that created the country, the constant fight on the treaty.
Yeah.
Okay. And I
think the modern... You say the constant. do you feel it's more elevated now than it has been previously?
I think it's always been. I feel it's always escalating at velocity. It's always growing. It's getting bigger and bigger as a conversation.
I think since this government's been in, it's escalated. I think if you look at previous national governments, right? Let's take John Key and Chris Finlayson. Now, Chris Finlayson was the Auditor General and he was a minister in the national government, and he was the most amazing national minister I think there has been. He was pretty much, I would say, very similar to Michael Cullen, who I also think did amazing things for New Zealand. You wouldn't have Kiwi Bank and you wouldn't have KiwiSaver. But one was National and one was Labour, but they were very similar and they wanted what I think was best for all New Zealanders. Mm-hmm. Now, Finlayson did all of the first settlements with iwi, and and so the relationship between that national government, which was in power for 9 years, remember, under Key, was they worked with iwi and they did it well. And when it switched to Labour, they continued Finlayson's legacy and continued to do that. And I don't think you had the issues that you have. And I would say the reason that you're talking about it more and your friends are talking about it more is because the debate has been raised by David Seymour with the Treaties Principles Bill, right? If that wasn't in play now, you wouldn't have had the hikoi to Parliament and you wouldn't have had all the other issues that are spinning out of it. This is a thing, so you talk about David Seymour. Here I am talking about him. It was his mastermind stroke to have something that lasted a long time, so he continued to be in the news. That's what it is. Whereas you look at the other things that New Zealand first have brought in, it's been very slow. So the Treaties Principle, very long time for public submissions. The Fast Track Bill, very short amount of time, right? They want to get in and they want to get out and they want to do these things.
Yeah.
So it's a masterstroke by Seymour, but it's a super racist one.
The conversations that I want to have is about New Zealand is the positive achievements of Maori people pre-colonization. It's a rich, sophisticated group of people that knew how to navigate the water, come to New Zealand, create life here, survive, do lots of great things. And yes, there's also not lots of great things about the Maori people in the pre-colonization time. Post-colonization, it was an agreement, from how I understand, is the British people came here and they brought in lots of great things. We celebrate that, the achievement, the partnership, the coming together. Post-colonization, we all agree that although we have, we can have different views on it, or different, the details might be different, that the deal was not held to what its original intent was. Harm was caused. That needs to be sorted out, right? The third conversation I want to have is the modern New Zealand, the world where I'm part of as an immigrant. I have kids here. I've been here for 15 years. I've created jobs. I've brought all my investments here. Where do I fit in? Where do the modern New Zealanders fit into the conversation? What does that look like? What is a New Zealander?
I think a New Zealander can be anyone that wants to be a citizen and be here, right?
Sure.
And that's the same with America, right?
Yeah. And we don't want to lose that identity. And I think all these conversations have elevated to a point that it has had a negative effect on what it means to be a New Zealander.
Yeah, but once again,
so I want to have positive conversations, and I want to encourage positivity about everybody that's a New Zealander.
New Zealand wouldn't be New Zealand if it wasn't for Māori, right? Just straight up, we wouldn't have a haka. They wouldn't. There are many things.
But that's not fair, because New Zealand wouldn't be New Zealand if it wasn't for the British people who came here. New Zealand wouldn't be New Zealand if it was for the immigrants who's come and contributed. So it wouldn't be fair. But everybody is part of that identity.
You've got to start somewhere, don't you? Right?
Yeah, of course. But there were people before the Maori people that came to New Zealand that contributed in many ways. So how back do you want to go? How back do you want to go?
What are you saying?
There were people before Maori people in New Zealand. Like, how far do you want to go?
Yeah, I mean, you can ride that horse. Probably no horses at this point, right? I don't even know, right? Who knows? I think you can say there were people from the Pacific that navigated their way here. Is that what you're saying as well? Under the stars? Is that your conversation?
Yeah, no. My conversation is that New Zealand is more than just the Maori people.
Yes, but they're the people of the land, right? They're the tangata whenua. They were the. We would be a poorer country culturally if Maori hadn't settled here first.
Well, I don't think we need that optics, because they were here. We're not objecting that they were not here. They are here. They're still here. They're part of us.
We're all part of each other.
Yeah, that's right. So the conversations that I feel it's lacking from my perspective is that we're not having a lot of conversations about us as New Zealanders, all of us.
Yes, it's because of the racist rhetoric of Seymour pushing it on one particular...
What do you think this treaty principle bill does to the Maori people? Do you think they lose out?
It's not going to happen. It pisses them off, and they've got every right to be pissed off by it, because it is...
Why does it pisses them off?
Because it's trying to say that something that happened 170 years ago wasn't like that, and it's bringing up shit that doesn't need to be brought back up. I feel like we're on a great track of settling previous grievances, and it does nothing but push everyone further apart. It's nothing. I mean, even Luxon is not supporting it, apart from he had to support it so he could become the Prime Minister. Lame.
Does the bill object to the settlement?
It tries to rewrite the history of New Zealand, right? And looks at different articles of the treaty, and it's not necessary. Look, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. It is not going to get through, right? It's not going past the next reading, right?
Correct.
Seymour, I think, will be the only one that votes for it. Well,
yeah.
ACT will be the only ones that vote for it next time round. Now, so it's not helping anyone, because it's not. Let's say it was going to help someone. It's not, because it's not going in. So what is it doing? It's just being more divisive, and it's a year of divisive shit that the country doesn't need when we're already in a massive recession.
Okay, well, that's a fair argument.
Look. Look. Here's the thing. How many millions of dollars are we spending on this treaty principles bill? You know, all of the readings, all of Seymour's. I'm gonna say all the, the people that they want to get rid of in Wellington in these management roles in the public service, they're all tied up doing this, right? Mm-hmm. Imagine if they were focused on sorting out the Taranaki base hospital so your kids could get better things. Because guess what? The outcome of this is nothing. It's a total waste of money because no one's supporting it. But what's everyone talking about? This.
Mm-hmm. So the principles, the treaty principles, is it true that they were never part of the original treaty? The Treaty of Waitangi does not have any principles. They were created in 1975. Is that true?
Oh, look, I
studied
the treaty at
Does it have principles? I don't think it does. I think the principles were created in 1975, then there was a Waitangi tribunal created. The principle was an interpretation of what the treaty was from the Maori text, and then it was written in a way.
No, that bit, the New Zealand and the English bit, was at least done in 1840, I thought.
Okay. But it did not have principles.
Honestly, I think we're getting into an area here which neither of us... Yeah, you and I can shitball on a lot of things.
Yeah, we're shitballing. This is what it is.
Yeah, because, I know. But I think neither of us has enough...
No, we don't.
...data to actually go any deeper into this. But... I'll happily go and do some more research and come back again, and we can do a whole one.
Tomorrow morning I've got Paul Moon coming on my show.
Yeah,
and obviously he's an historian.
Yeah,
he knows a lot about this, so we'll talk about it, and you can watch his podcast as well.
Yeah. What I'd like to say on immigration though is, I wonder, because during the COVID thing, you had this issue where we didn't have enough people in New Zealand. Right, we had all these spare jobs, and you could pick any job you want. Now, unemployment's up and da da da. Yeah, I don't believe the immigration settings have changed much since that. Let's have a free for all and let as many people in as we can. Now, I always thought the immigration settings was based on. So you came to New Zealand because you were married to a New Zealander? Like how you applied for a special... How did it happen?
Short-skilled is what it was called.
Yeah, right.
Back in 2008. Short-skilled migrant visa. So it's like a point system.
Yeah. And I think that's still happening, and they've lowered it.
So I came as a high-skilled visa to contribute.
Yeah.
Create jobs.
And I think that still exists. But I think the echelon for where that sits now is quite low.
Right.
So, I mean, there's a lot of people, I think, coming into the country that are kitchen hands in restaurants.
Right.
That are nail bar technicians to do your pedicure and your manicure. Now, let me throw this to you. Are they high skilled? Could you train your when your daughter turns 15, could you teach her how to wash dishes?
Yeah, so the argument you'll find is that they're not high skilled, and you should be training people.
The 5% of people that are out of work.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I would say
and they don't want to do the work because it's a cultural issue. That's the reason why Kiwis don't want to pick fruits, right?
But
so it's a culture issue.
But do you want to put money on the table for your family? Look, all through my last few years at high school and then at university, I washed dishes at night, right? And I'm fine with it. My first job was in a bakery getting paid $2 an hour.
Yeah.
But that's, you have to start somewhere and work your way up. I saved $100 in that first year to buy a BMX.
Yeah.
Working over the whole school holidays in a bakery.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting trend we're seeing, in America, the whole immigration visa thing that happened in the US with Elon Musk. It kind of showed me this trend of there's a fight going on between a new political movement of all these tech kind of people.
Well, they're trying to take over, right?
And then you have the conservatives that are saying, well, we don't want too much immigration, right? So it's an interesting trend.
I was thinking about this the other day. If you were 10, 15 years ago to do a sci-fi movie of the way the world is now, people would say that's not realistic. The world won't be like that.
Yeah.
In 15 years, whatever. Guess what? We are owned right now by billionaires, right? Your mate Elon and Trump and all these guys. It's Rishi Sunak when he was in power in the UK. It's all billionaires trying to influence what's going on in the world.
Yeah,
and
I think that was always the
case. They're still selfish, and they still want to make more for themselves.
Yeah, they do. They do. The funny thing is that I was in the plane this morning and bumped into a guy that I'd worked with before, and he said to me, I'm really concerned about this Trump thing because, there's all these oligarchies are coming in now. I'm like, well, you've heard that term because Biden mentioned it. And now all of a sudden everybody knows that there's an oligarchy. There are these elite wealthy people that control governments. It's like, well, that's been happening for how many years? It's now everyone's waking up to that fact, you know? So it was an interesting observation.
But the oligarchs have normally been from Russia, right?
And yeah, it's a Russian term, yeah.
Yeah, and
it's kind of
you've seen it around in the Premier League football, to vaguely change topics. They all decided to buy football teams in England because it was the thing to do, right? And then when Putin started cracking down on it, so you had Abramovich owning Chelsea.
Yeah, which he sold.
Which he had to sell
and
get out of.
Yeah.
And
I think he sold it because
they were taking Putin was taking all the money back, right?
No, I think Abramovich sold Chelsea during the time when the Russia and the Ukraine war started, and all the Russians received sanctions.
Right, so he thought that.
And so he was sanctioned to sell with no choice because his money was connected to Putin and Russia.
Yeah.
So he did not sell because Putin pressured him or cracked down on him. He sold because at that time there was a huge sanction on all Russians and businesses. Yeah. I mean, it's... Yeah, I think it's going to be a crazy year this year.
Same.
It already sounds like it, doesn't it?
Oh, it does.
Just feels like a clusterfuck.
I just want things to be easier and wars are just such a fucking waste of time.
Yeah, no more wars, man. Cut this shit out.
It's just
apparently
so
right now there's a hostage exchange going on between Gaza and Israel, apparently. Right. Or actually it's going to start in an hour, apparently.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a big year. I mean, Trump's getting in. You know, he's going to throw a lot of stuff at people. It's just all sorts of JFK files, like COVID files. There's going to be a lot of exposing that's going to go on for sure.
What do you mean now? What are you saying?
Well, he's going to declassify a lot of files.
That's fine. He was the president during COVID, so I don't understand what... I mean, he is during that time.
Did you read the?
He was clearly like RFK having his brain eaten by someone, because I don't know if you recall that press conference where he said we're going to put, what was it? Not chloride, something.
Fluoride.
Something, and it would get rid of COVID. So you just drink it and it. What would kill you?
The blue.
Yeah, the detergent or something.
The blue dye.
There was a number of things, and he's just like, batshit crazy on it. It's just weird.
Yeah, I mean, I hear Joe Rogan talk about it all the time. Ivermectin and a few other things that are. Mel Gibson was on his show talking about how his friends have cured cancer by taking ivermectin, taking this chloride dye, some other medicine. They've cured cancer. So, okay. Joe Rogan took ivermectin when he had COVID.
I don't believe cancer is cured. What I was talking about, and we don't need to get into the subject because this is also another big one, but AI, if I think about what AI could do, like it's endless, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if there's one thing I'd love to be cured, it's cancer, right?
Yeah. Well, I think that's one of the goal of AI. AI should be truth-seeking, uncover the universe, solve all these things, and it's that's why I like Neuralink. It's a chip that you put in the brain, and it sort of activates parts of your brain that's been damaged through accidents and things you can't move. Sort of kind of get it going again. I love those kind of things, and I think AI should be about that. But we live in a capitalist world, and people want to make money.
There's nothing wrong with capitalism per se. It's okay,
but there's a fine line,
okay,
right?
Yeah, right? Look, that's what I said before. I think I'm a capitalist. I like making money, right? I like paying tax on the money I make to give, because what you hope is that the people in power have a good financial literacy and understanding of the world around them so that they then do the right thing with it. What we've run into for generations is people probably not doing the right things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, sometimes, I kind of like, you brought up climate change, right?
And AI, and you could spend forever on both of them.
I know, right? And sometimes I wonder, are we being disrespectful to the earth, that we think we know more than the earth itself as an entity to protect the earth from climate destruction?
But we're not protecting the earth from climate destruction.
I don't think we need to.
What do you mean?
I think the earth is smart enough to manage itself.
Do you genuinely believe that?
Yeah.
Okay, let me just get this straight. Let's just
beat me up.
No. Just losing respect for you, not beating you up.
Here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Let's say that we ignore climate change and the temperature goes up and up and up.
Yeah.
What happens? We die. A human civilization disappears. Okay. Yeah. Is that a?
I mean, I'm not into the idea, but I can see that happening. Yeah.
Okay. So let's say that happens, or a nuclear war. Okay. We blow the world up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bizarrely, I think under Trump, I think there'll be less wars.
Yes, I think so too, which is a good thing. So let's just play with this idea that we increase the climate and we destroy the human civilization and the earth. We destroy the earth in many ways, or we start a nuclear war and we get the atmosphere of the earth on fire. We burn it up.
Yeah.
Just like the asteroid did that came and destroyed the dinosaurs. The earth will, over time, 40, 50 million years, fix itself, be green again, and there will be another species on earth.
Sure. Let's take your theory as given, right? For a moment, do you not want to be selfish, right? Do you not want your children to grow up? Do you not want them to have the things that you've had? Because what you are talking about,
what you're talking about has nothing to do with the earth. You're talking about saving and being selfish about the human civilization, right?
Like, if you honestly don't give a fuck about climate change and you know it's real, but you're willing to blow the whole shit up, don't worry about Taranaki Base Hospital. Don't worry about your kids and getting their tonsils out. I wouldn't even worry about seeing your kids. Like, just forget about it. Go and be the most selfish prick in the world, because that's what you are suggesting, right? You are in a thing where you don't give a fuck and you just think that human civilization being wiped out is okay.
Oh, no, I didn't say that.
Well,
no, I'm a human first. I'm human first. I think
but you went through this bizarre analogy of like blowing up the planet, and
I'm saying
in millions of years Earth will be smart enough to come back, but we won't be part of it. Why aren't you? Okay, and
why would it be?
Okay, and why aren't you so selfish? Why don't you care about your children enough to want something good for them?
I don't care about my children.
Okay, so then why are you going to blow up the planet?
I don't want to blow up the planet.
Okay, then why don't you want to try and stop climate change, which you think will blow up the planet?
My point that I want to make is that this whole climate change thing is, I think we're on the same page, but we're on a different angle. But I think the point is, sometimes people make the climate change thing as if like the earth is what we should care for. But that's not true. This whole climate change thing is about saving us, not destroying the only home we have.
Right.
Right? But that's the argument that people make, but they make it in a way.
Okay, well, let me make it in a very simple way, right?
Sure.
If we blow this thing up, right?
I'll be on Mars. Go on.
No, but you won't. You won't be on Mars.
If I get a ticket, I'm going. Sure. If you get a ride, would you go? Would you come with me?
No, I'm happy with what I've got.
You happy with Coromandel?
I'm happy with Coromandel. I'm happy with the whole thing. I'm happy with. I want us just to not blow it up.
Yeah. I don't think we should blow it up. Just yeah.
But there are a whole lot of things that we can do.
But I think we should respect the fact that the Earth is incredibly smart. It knows how to function.
What do you mean it's smart?
Well, it's been around for 4.5 billion years.
Sure, but it doesn't. Are you saying it's got a brain?
Oh, that's a good.
Because to be smart, you would have to say it had a brain, right? I think it's reliant on us.
Well, it doesn't have a consciousness. It might be an intelligent being. It understands how to do lots of things. It understands how to create life. We are a product of Earth.
Exactly. But I think it was hoping that we wouldn't be so fucking stupid, right? And come up with batshit crazy theories that are going to wipe out. Let's say the world survives, but humanity doesn't because we're stupid and we are doing dumb things that we don't need to do, right? We could move to multiple things could change the thing. And look, I was speaking to a very intelligent person in AI who studied AI at university, and he's like, look, the one thing that AI could do a great job of, because I don't think humans are going to do it in time, is fixing climate change.
Yeah.
And because otherwise, you're going to have less land, going to be hotter, you know, all of the things that you know, and maybe you just flick them off and da-da. But what are we leaving behind? And are we that selfish that we, because you and I can probably survive,
I used to be part of all of this stuff, okay? I used to do climate change. I was all for it. I used to promote it. I was plant-based for 3 years for climate change. I voted for James Shore, okay? I did all of that stuff. I think it made my life worse.
Sure. And look, here's the thing.
Nothing improved my life by being part of that ideology and movement.
It's not about improving your life. It's about
what you did say about being selfish and making sure my kids have really good service. I was selfish for my kids and for us. And it made my life worse. I'm being honest.
Yeah. And look, here's the thing. I didn't.
And that's why I was like, okay, I don't want to be part of it.
I'm not a vegetarian. I'm not a vegan. I'm not any of that. But I know there are some major things we can do that can make the world a better place. And it's not hard. And it's not expensive. There are lots of things that are just like, people are just...
If things make people's life better, I think people will get behind it. If people are angry about something, then it's because you can say that they are dumb or stupid, or you can I'm not saying you, I'm just saying we can say that they're dumb or stupid, or we can say that they've been part of it and it actually hasn't made their life better. It made their life worse, right? So... Like, I was part of COVID. I was all for it. I was vaccinated. I took a booster shot. I shut down my businesses. I was all for it. But it made my life worse. I lost a lot of my net worth. I lost all of it. I lost all my businesses. I started all over again, right? So I think people are all... in New Zealand, I think people are all for these things. That's what New Zealand is known for.
I don't think we're generally known for...
We're known to push way above our weight. We've known around the world for being very environmentally progressive, okay?
But I feel like we're throwing that out the window.
Yeah, but I think we're throwing that out of the window because people feel that they've been done for. They have lost, right?
I mean, they've lost. Here's the thing, right? I haven't lost anything. Well,
I'm sure a lot of people haven't, but we would, because there may be a minority group of people that are very angry because it hasn't worked for them, right?
Okay, let's take your minority group of people where it hasn't worked well for them. Guess what? When it's 2 degrees hotter and, skin cancer's fucking through the roof far worse than it is now, pick any argument that you want. Are they going to be more upset about that they're dying of skin cancer, or that... they can't go outside, or the fucking, the swarming bee. Like, there's any number of things that you could say are going to happen. Now, you feel that they got upset because they went plant-based for 3 years and it didn't work out for them. It's just absolute nonsense. It's just like, I want you to be nearly more selfish in that sense. It's like, you're doing the wrong things, right? Like that's... Look, we don't need to dig up oil and gas, and we can all drive electric cars, right? And that would make, I imagine, a massive difference. We don't need to... there are many things we can do to fix it. But I mean, look, none of us are probably going to be able to afford insurance pretty soon. And you got to say that is probably because of climate change. Because you're going to say, do we agree or do we not that the fires in California, there's a big chunk of that?
There's a lot of different theories, though.
Okay, sure. Sure. But is that one of the major theories? I just want to try and find some common ground on this.
Okay, so there was some scientists in California came out and said that the climate change had a role to play in it.
Okay, cool.
That's one story.
Yeah.
There's other stories of people starting fire. They've been caught on tape starting fires.
Sure. But there's multiple fires, right?
Yeah. Wind is another thing. Okay.
Yeah. And the lack of rain.
And the lack of rain.
Is that because it's hotter, right?
Okay. And then there was the other...
And because you're in a city of 15 million or whatever, and most of them aren't driving Teslas, and so you're making the...
And the fourth argument was that there was not enough water in the reserves to use to shut down the fire.
Where do you get water from?
I don't know much about the water management system in California.
I mean, it comes from...
Sure. And there's another argument that there was this type of fish that he wanted to save... Newsom, so he decided to not use the water, leave the water for this fish. It's called the Delta smelt fish, right? So my point is, to your question, is there are multiple different reasons of why the fire started.
Okay.
And I'm sure there is misinformation in all of them, and there is some truth in all of them.
Okay. Let's just say with the flooding and flooding, you're seeing it more than we have done before. Let's say that a small part, just to find the bit where we can agree, a small part of raging fires around the world and flooding around the world is caused by climate change. Can we find that middle ground? Where can we find the middle ground on this? Because then I can deviate off and win my point, and that's what I'm about. So I want to find the middle ground where we've got to say that what we're doing to the world is having an impact.
Okay, when you say climate change, let's be clear.
Okay, let's be clear.
There are two types of climate change. Let's just use that as it's. I'm not a climate change expert, so I'm
same. You got two people debating something that they don't.
Exactly. I'm going to simplify it. I guess is my point. Is you can say man-made climate change and climate change that's just natural.
Where do the animals come into it?
Okay, well, I mean, like life-based climate change, not man-made, but life-based. Animals are part of that. So that's one. Okay, which I assume most of your views are about that, but we can also say that climate change naturally changes. Climate can naturally change.
Yes, it can. Okay?
Sun can throw us. Ice age. Sun can throw us a flare, and the temperature goes up. It can happen. So I think we have to be aware of that. That in California, was it? I don't know how much it was animal and man-made climate change, or how much was it just natural climate change. But maybe yes, there is some climate change. I don't think climate change is not real. I think it's real. But I think there is also natural climate change that happens a lot.
Sure. Okay. Tick. There we go. So there's climate change, right? Very soon, none of us will be able to afford insurance. In fact, guess what? The insurance companies won't insure a whole lot of things, because there's a $40 billion rebuild for LA, at least $40 billion US. Under that current exchange rate, which I think is 56, it's like 70 billion New Zealand dollars.
Mm-hmm.
All the insurance companies are global. That is going to have a massive knock-on effect for people insuring homes in New Zealand. Look, after the floods out in Auckland on that anniversary day, insurance went up, I think, 3x. Then your rates go up as well, because guess what? They need to do this, that, and the other, and we've got this water infrastructure problem that, it's a whole nother can of worms that, we need to deal with these things, not kick them to the curb. We need to think about our kids, and do we want them to have a world to grow up in? Or do we want wildfires and flooding and natural disasters?
Yeah, and
to be the norm.
Yeah, And the other issue with California as well is that why are you building houses in areas where there is like a lot of greenery and then you know that it's going to get on fire, right? Same debate we had when we had the floods in Auckland, right? It's like, why are we cutting so much of the green and creating all these concrete? So you're then making it harder for the water to kind of to flow, right?
I sat in a public meeting with MPs and
so again, it comes down to management. There's a lot of mismanagement going on as well when these things happen.
And infrastructure.
Yeah.
So, which is what you expect.
So for me, it's not just taxes. When I stand up and say, well, what's the right thing to do? If I'm going to vote, and that's my voice.
And that's an if, people. It's an if.
If I'm going to vote, I'm not going to be like, okay, it's climate change. What are you doing about climate change? I want to say, well, it's management. What are you going to do about mismanagement, right? You had this, like, have you seen these videos of this DI chief of the fire police saying, oh, if you're in the fire and you don't look like me, then it's your fault to be in the fire. Why are you in the fire? Did you see this video?
I did see the video.
And what do you think of that?
I don't know the context for the video. Right?
Okay. So you haven't watched the whole thing?
No.
Just seen
the clip? No. Sorry. I don't know that. Look, she wasn't saying that in response to the fire, right? That's an old interview that's been unearthed, right?
Yes. Okay, this fire.
Yeah, okay.
It's an old video.
Yeah. So I don't know.
But is she saying something that's appropriate, you think?
I don't know the context behind it, right? I don't know what the question was that led to it. On the face of what's being said, it sounds strange, right? But at the same time, she's got 22 years in the fire service, and she's come up through the ranks and is the number one fire person in California. I imagine there are, in LA, I imagine there's some very highly skilled fire people in LA. To last that long, and to be in the senior position she was or is, I don't think they give that job away. And, it's kind of the same rhetoric, and whether it's right or wrong, and I don't know, and time will tell, right? Mm-hmm. The New Zealand frigate crashed in Samoa, and it cost $100 million, right?
And she got a lot of flack for it.
For
exactly the same thing.
Right? And
but it's true that the Defense Department has a DEI program. They want to have more women in positions because women have been done for. It's true.
Done. What's the definition?
They have been discriminated. Men have been given more opportunities.
Sure. And so your point, I think you're going the way of they've gone too far one way and two wrongs don't make a right. So because
my point is a firefighter has to be a firefighter. Your job is to get in there and save people.
Yes.
That kind of comment, no matter what the context is, it's just bizarre. It doesn't make any sense. You're a firefighter. You're there. You're a firefighter because your job is to save lives. It doesn't matter if it's a dog or a cat or a white person, a black person, a man, a fat person, or not a fat person.
But at the end of the day, if everyone's going to die and we're going to destroy the earth, then it doesn't really matter who's in charge of the fire service, does it?
No, we're talking about DEI.
I know.
We're talking about DEI, right? And yes, she got a lot of flack for that. Even the Babylon Bee was making fun of her.
So the thing is, I think with all of those things, you need to, and I don't agree with Judith on March Collins, but she came out and said, stop, there'll be an investigation. Mm-hmm. At the end of the investigation, it'll be clear whose fault it was.
Yeah.
And because there's a lot of armchair podcast watchers and participants that like to throw some theories around. And unless you're on that boat and you knew that the autopilot didn't come on or did come on or didn't, look, there's a mistake. there has been a mistake happen, right? The other mistake is, guess what? Speaking of insurance, no insurance on the $100 million frigate that they just bought.
Wow. I think
and that's got to sit with the government. They've got the equivalent of third-party foreign theft.
Yeah.
So if someone stole your frigate or it caught fire, you'd be right. But if you crash it into a reef in Samoa.
Yeah, there was a recent release, I think end of last year, about this ship sinking. I think they did initial findings, and they did find that there was a human mistake made. And I think was it the captain of the ship that's been investigated? Somebody is being investigated.
Yeah, look, I don't know, and I would hate to, because I'm sure there's still more going on.
I think when these things happen, right, these DI stuff happen, like when there's a major event going on, it's not necessarily attacking the person. It's attacking something that is not the person. The person is not the target. The person is the subject.
They often do become the target, don't they? And that was
that's not okay.
Right, and that was Judith Collins's point.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think a lot of times when you go on that trajectory and you get people fired up, then naturally the person becomes the target.
Yeah. But no, I mean, it's been a fun conversation, man. Is there anything else you want to talk about? We've been over 3 hours.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, and
really.
But I think the
phone's popping off.
I think that the theme of this conversation is that it's just going to be a crazy year. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on, and I think people like us have a high expectation that things are managed well.
Yeah,
they're done well. I think you have very strong values about the environment and lots of good things. It's great. I've dabbled into it. That's naturally not my energy. I'm being honest. It's not my energy.
Yeah.
And we all have different energies, right? And I love all of that stuff. But I also love other things.
Same. And look, I've got my court case. I got my court case in 2020 in May.
Less or more about how we care about other people. I think we all care about our kids. We want to see them succeed, and we want everybody
we want a planet for them to grow up on.
Yeah, we want everybody to have those opportunities.
But you want back to the DIE thing and all of this stuff. You just want everyone to have the same chance that everyone else gets, right?
Yeah.
And that's the same when it comes to wars, right? Kids shouldn't be being blown up in hospitals.
No.
No one's life should be taken away from them. Like, it's just not okay.
No.
You know what I mean?
There's a lot of people that have died over the last 2-3 years. A lot of innocent people for no reason.
Yes. And so what I want for the world is for everyone to be able to live without being killed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
have a nice, safe home.
Yeah. An education, a health system.
And it turns out it's not that simple.
Well, I come back to my very first point. And I seem to simplify things. Yeah. I genuinely don't think it's that hard.
Yeah.
I think selfish people make it harder than it needs to be.
I'm with you.
Because they want this greed.
It's hard.
Yeah.
But it is. The reality today, it's incredibly hard
it's not hard. It just got people that just want to line the pockets and the pockets.
Okay. People have made it hard for simple people to just have a simple life.
Yes.
People have made it hard.
Yeah.
Simple people can't afford a home, can't take the kids to the hospital, can't afford insurance.
Yeah.
It's hard for simple people.
Yes.
Who just, wake up and go to work and feed the kids and just, drop them at school and pick them up and teach them good values and be tolerant citizens.
Yeah.
But I think we've fucked that up somehow. We have.
Yes.
And we need to fix it.
Yes. Thank you.
It's been great. Thanks for coming, man.
Pleasure.